Welcome to NISMO TV. It's 2018 and this is SuperGT. We're here for the Okayama Round 1, the opening race. I'm Sam Collins and I'm here with Rob Barff. Rob, welcome back to the NISMO bunker. It's great to be back, isn't it?
Thank you very much, Sam. Yeah, great to be here. 300 kilometres today around Okayama. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait.
And I've just noticed your T-shirt. I didn't spot that until literally just now. You've got your Poco 1000 2001 T-shirt on. Now, that's because you've raced in Super GT, isn't it?
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Yeah, it's a long time ago now, but yeah, it's great to be sort of bringing a driver's insight into the Super GT Championship and lots of quality in terms of new drivers coming to the grid this year as well as some new and updated cars.
Yeah, and there's a lot to talk about in terms of cars and the starting grid and all of that stuff. And we're going to try and get through it all during the race and during this little bit of pre-race show that we're doing. I don't think, looking at the starting grid, though, as it is, we are going to get through every little bit of information. In fact, I think it's going to be a bit of a thriller of a race, so stay tuned. But before we got going on anything to do with Okayama, our guys with the TV cameras were out in, well, I think it was in Yokohama this took place. We went to the NISMO factory, and we had a bunch of the NISMO drivers talking, and the whole entire NISMO team, actually, all the mechanics, all sat down together, and they had a nice powwow about what they were looking forward to in 2018.
We are ready to start the new season Super GT. In the pre-season, we had a lot of tests in Malaysia and here in Japan. The car looks really good. The base for the start of the season is much stronger compared to 2017. In this weekend we will have the round one in Okayama. All the Nissan teams they look really motivated with many good hopes, and we will fight hard, and hopefully at the end of the season we really hope to get back the championship after 3 years.
Yeah, testing has been good. We have a few changes in our team from last year. I have a new teammate, Takaboshi, who is a F3 champion and young and very quick driver. I'm very happy to work with him. And within our team, we have an engineering change and also Yokohama. So quite a few things are different from last year. I'm hoping that the team will come together to be quite strong this year.
So testing a new spec GT-R this season has been going really well. Round 1 is almost here. So my recommendation to all you fans of GT-R, Impul, Calsonic, watch Super GT this year. I think it's going to be a good year for GT-R.
Well, it's great to hear that from Jan. And actually, that's not all that NISMO is doing in motor racing this year. Of course, we will be talking a lot about the new or heavily revised GT3 car as well. But Formula E, I was in Geneva a few weeks ago looking at the launch of the concept, the Formula E concept car. And this is all to do with Nissan's new intelligent mobility. You're going to hear that phrase a lot through the season because Nissan's really pushing the boat out on how far you can push technology. And the Formula E project is the sort of halo of that. Super GT is another element to the whole technological drive. And we're going to talk a lot about the engine technology and the high efficiency that you're getting from the combustion engine in the Super GT cars through the race today. But there's a load of other stuff. I mean, there's the new Leaf that is on sale. The world's best-selling electric car has gone a bit further. And now I said this to you. We were sitting over dinner last night, Rob, and I said this. I was going to say this because I know some Nissan people tuning in. Bring the Leaf NISMO to the UK, please. I'll buy one. There you go. The Nissan Leaf NISMO. If it was a concept car, I think about a Tokyo Motor Show last year, the new generation Nissan Leaf, and that's going to be fantastic to see. But there is so much more happening. There is the Blancpain the Blancpain Asia Series, and the Blancpain Endurance Series, and British GT, which wasn't on our list of things we had to mention, but the British GT Championship has 2 lovely Motul-sponsored red cars.
Yeah, RJN running 2 cars there, one 2018 spec car, one 2017 spec, and Bob and Liz Neville back in the mix as always, and great to see them on the grid. And British GT, again, quality in terms of numbers of cars, both in GT3 and GT4. And just going back to the Formula E, we've got to mention what a good-looking car, a much better-looking second-generation Formula E single-seater than the first car, and that's going to be a huge draw for the crowds. It's looked a little bit like a large-scale electric car previously. It's now starting to look like a proper race car.
And that car, Nissan has had that Formula E car on track already at Monte Blanco, and I think it was at another track in Spain earlier this week.
My face. Are we allowed to talk about this?
Yes,
yeah, I think
yes,
we are.
because it was in the Formula E press release.
Oh, okay. That's all right,
so
then.
we definitely know that they can talk about that. We won't be hearing too much more about the Formula E project in detail until the end of the Formula E season, I've been told. But there is so much great Formula E content to come on Nismo TV. So if you want to know more about Formula E, in fact, the whole Nissan Intelligent Mobility and all of this good, lovely motor racing stuff, hit like, hit subscribe. And of course, do that if you like Super GT. And there have been some changes in endurance racing across Asia. So in the Blancpain Asia series, the new specification Nissan GT-R GT3 is going to be running with the two cars running with the KCMG team, and that's got a stellar lineup, hasn't it?
Look, KCMG run a fantastic team. I'm fortunate enough to know Matt Howson, who raced and won LMP2 at Le Mans, and great to have Florian Strauss driving one of those cars. Florian, a previous winner of the GT Academy show. Remember Jan Mardenborough, that's where he's come from. At the age of 19, Jan hadn't even sat in a racing car, and now, look, he lines up on the GT500 grid this morning. And Florian, driving for back for Nissan in Blancpain GT Asia.
And that is with Sugiya Matsuda, I think, is in that car as well.
Yeah, he's done a bit.
Oh, yeah, he's been around a bit. We'll talk about more about him later on. But also, we have seen the first round of the Super Taikyu Championship. The Super Taikyu Championship is a Japanese endurance racing championship, a bit like a Japanese version of VLN for anyone who's familiar with that European series that runs on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. The first round was won by the Nissan GT-R GT3. And this is the first of the second of a number of serious wins for Nissan. The Sebring 12 Hours, their funny little event there out in Florida, and won by Nissan in DPI.
Yeah, the Sebring 12 Hours. People often think of Le Mans 24 Hours as being the ultimate test for endurance, but for me, I've competed at both, and Sebring was just so hard in comparison. Half the duration, but in terms of being technically difficult for the drivers, the circuit is smaller, the density of traffic is higher, the circuit is so much more bumpy and abrasive than Le Mans. Sebring is the ultimate test of driver and car, and for Nissan to come away with a win and so early in the season, terrific.
I mean, and that's one of the things you'll see that on Nismo TV, we've got a whole bunch of videos we put together, and I'm not sure where we've got up to with the ones that have come out so far, but I loved making them, and we went out to Japan and filmed all of the great Nissan cars, and here in the Nismo bunker, we've got quite a few lovely machines knocking around behind the wall that are still kept secret to you guys, but unfortunately, not even it's kept secret to some of us as well, but the cars are really, really nice to see, but Nissan goes racing not just for the sake of putting nice videos on TV, but it is really to improve the breed. And it's one of these manufacturers that really, the reason we're bringing this Super GT race is on Nismo TV is that it's because it's for the fans, but also to show this great technology on track. Don't keep it hidden. Don't keep it hidden away. And that's why it won't just be a garage cam for this footage. It'll be a full race coverage. And we're the only, I think Nismo TV is the only channel to really go into showing proper races through the year. So if you want to see a lot more, not only like and subscribe to this channel, tell us in the comments what you would like to see on the channel, because we can make that happen. Well, as long as it's about a Nissan.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to what you were saying a moment ago about Nissan and Nismo really being at the forefront of technology. Look at the speed of these GT500 cars, Sam, around the circuit, the Okayama circuit. They're lapping now within a couple of seconds of the Formula One cars when they raced in the Pacific Grand Prix there a few years ago. So a Formula One car from the mid-1990s is almost being outpaced now by a small capacity petrol-engined GT car.
And we will talk about the two different categories in Super GT shortly, but I think we'll talk about it now, actually. If you haven't watched Super GT before, what makes it super? Well, there's two classes of car. There's GT500 and GT300. GT500 is the works category. It's all works teams, essentially, even though they've got different names and different teams actually running the cars. They are all 2 litre litre turbocharged direct injection engines, producing about 650 to 670 brake horsepower. We have heard rumours of the 700 brake horsepower barrier being approached. They got direct injection, pre-chamber ignition systems. You're going to hear a lot about this year. We're going to talk a bit more about that as the season goes on, as the information becomes a bit clear. There's rumours and information, but we don't know any real facts, so we're not going to talk too much about that this race, unless there's a long safety car, which I don't think there will be. There's also, all of these cars also have carbon fibre monocoque chassis, and so the carbon fibre monocoque chassis on the Nissans and the Lexus are identical. The Honda has a slightly different monocoque chassis because that's a mid-engine car, whereas the Nissan and the Lexus are front-engined. Otherwise, it's rear-wheel drive only, slick tyres. It's a tyre war category. 5 different tyre manufacturers supplying into the series, and it does make a difference. No tyre warmers either. Then there's the GT300 category. GT300 has a mix of FIA GT3 cars, which you should all be familiar with, things called mother chassis GT300 cars, which have carbon fibre monocoques, a single specification, very familiar looking 4.5 litre V8 that absolutely didn't come out of Yokohama. And the third subgroup of that car is what you call a JAF GT300. Now, these are based on the road cars, but they are fully tuned race cars, and there's very little of the road car left. The Subaru BRZ and the Toyota Prius, of all things, are good examples of that. But first, and for now, let's take a look at what went on in qualifying, because the qualifying took place yesterday, and all of the Nissan drivers, there they are, the GT500 drivers in action. Now, you can see that's GT500 rear end, those lovely tail lights, and proper high advanced car to switch lap on. But Mr. Helmet started off with Mintzilla, the Dijon Racing GT3 car, and the GT300 cars got the first crack of the whip at qualifying, but then the GT500s came out in lovely dry conditions, and whilst it looked a little bit overcast, the lap times started to tumble. Look at that, 123.3 for Daiki Sasaki, the new driver in the Calsonic Blue car run by Team Impel, and he looked like he was going to top the table, but the Lexus fought back. But take a look, Sugeo Matsuda really on it to make a great lap time in the Michelin-shod red car, with the Forum Engineering, also Michelin-shod car, Nissan GT-R GT500, really getting the pace up there. And as you see, Sugeo Matsuda's time was top of the table, a 118.3 and a 118.4, but those lap times dropped out. It did look like it was going to be an all locked out Nissan front row, but the sign and the man with the glasses pointing at the sky tells you everything you need to know. The GT300 cars experienced it first. It was absolutely pouring with rain at Okayama. What's that like?
And it wasn't only wet, it was cold as well. 6-7 degrees air temperature, really unseasonably chilly, and very, very slippery out on track. The Okayama circuit is quite abrasive. It's 3.7 kilometers long, so a couple of miles long, and a real challenge in these conditions.
And there you go, the number 3 car. That's a new car in GT500 this year, and we'll talk about more of that when we get to the starting grid in a few moments. But as you see, the rain came absolutely pouring down, and it completely mixed up the field in both GT500 and GT300. So whilst the Nissans weren't on pole in the ultimate end of it, though they did set very good pace during that qualifying session, the rain changed completely through the day, and it gave us a real mixed up grid. So we'll run through those starting times when we get to the starting grid on screen any moment, and we'll see that starting grid. And here you go, we've got that sound effect coming in, which usually means we get a starting grid. And here we go, in the middle of the starting grid. And we just missed front. So you got Jensen Button starting the 100 car in 5th on the grid, 7th on the grid. We've missed the front of the grid. We'll start that in there. Kenta Yamashita in the Wedsport Advan LC500 Lexus is alongside Ronnie Quintarelli in the Motul Ortec GT-R. Then the Keeper Toms LC500, reigning champion Nick Cassidy in 9th position. Tachikawa in the Zensurimo LC500, the red Toyota there. Daiki Sasaki is not starting the race. Jan Mardenborough in 11th in the number 12 Calsonic car. The Mugen NSX is alongside that. Bertie Baguette in 13th position in the Honda Modulo NSX, alongside Sekiguchi in the Toms LC500, and bringing up the back of the field, 2016 champions Heikki Kovalainen and Kamui Kobayashi in that car this year. starting the season, which he didn't. In GT300, the Manepa Lamborghini showing its best form for years on pole position there, alongside the not at all works Audi R8 LMS with Richard Lyons, former GT500 champion, in there. But the first of the new spec Nissan GT-R GT3 is in third position, alongside that the Leon AMG GT. The Hoppy GT86, that's a car that had a very different colour scheme last year. Hoppy we'll talk about a bit more, alongside the K-Tunes RCF Lexus GT3. Seventh position is the first of the Toyota Priuses. Koki Saga starts that car in seventh position, alongside Takagi in the only BMW on the grid. No more teddy bears here. Up garage in the 86 Mother Chassis GT86. That is now got different maintenance coming from. The Subaru BRZ is in 10th position, alongside the first of the new Honda NSX GT3s in 11th. The Max Icon 86 in 12th, alongside the Taisan R8 from Fukushima in 13th. The Lotus is in 14th. That's an interesting car. Its speed comes and goes. Hatsune Miku is in 15th. Very popular car. Zero car. Reigning champions, I think, this year as well. 16th position is another of these new Honda GT3 cars. It's the Modulo Run car. Gainer Tanax, that is the second of the new GT-R GT3s, alongside the Saitama Toyopet Green Behave Mark X MC, probably the worst looking car on the grid. The run-up Bumblebee 19 GT-R is alongside the D-Station Porsche. Tomoyuki Fuji starts that car. Kubo in the Golf Porsche is 21st, alongside the Legal Frontier Lamborghini. I like that's a new name. Sato starts that. The EXE AMG GT3 is in 23rd, alongside the Lexus RCF GT3 of Cintium. That's the oil sponsor car. The other Toyota Prius is in 25th, alongside the Bentley in 26th. Yuji Ide starts that car. Let's hope he keeps it the right way up. The RQ'd AMG GT3 is in 27th, and Arto 86, that's the Thai team, have switched to a GT3 car, and at the back of the car, the grid, it is the old specification Nissan GT-R GT3 that we like to call Mintzilla.
44 cars are registered to take part in this year's championship, Sam, and we have 15 in GT500 today, and we have 29 in GT300. There we can see dry tarmac. It's not that warm, but at least it's going to be dry for the start of the race.
There was discussion of snow and sleet, and the weather forecast says it's going to be showers and breezy today. Here we are down on the starting grid, and that's the Forum Engineering team, Kondo Racing, having a conversation. That is a very famous singing man, Masahiko Kondo. We'll hear more about him and his Nissan Micra later on at NISMO.TV. There is one of those new spec Nissan GT-R GT3s run by the Gainer team. Now, there's two of these Gainer-run Nissan GT-R GT3s. One's on Dunlops and the other's on Yokohama's, and they is going to make a big difference. The Dunlop shod car is up the front of the field. The Yokohama one is the one that's a little bit further down. There is the Lotus Evora Mother Chassis car, carbon fibre monocoque. Behind that, the Honda NSX. There it is, though, the red car. This is the number 23 Nissan, the car that everybody wants to see up the front, apart from some certain people in blue overalls who always like to be in front. There is a big rival between the red car and the blue car, but this is all about Nissan getting the win. Look how worn out that steering wheel was there, Rob.
I mean, Quintarelli really focused. He's got a job to do in that car as the team's all now getting ready for the national anthem, the traditional way to start the Super GT proceedings here, Sam.
Standing alongside the Keihin NSX there was Masaki Bando, the Bernie Eccleston, if you like, or Chase Carey, we now have to say, of Super GT. And he is listening, but they are lining up for the national anthem, which we'll be hearing shortly. There's the Tom's AU team. Nakajima, they're clearly not starting the car. He'll be in later on. He doesn't look like they're even thinking about doing a pit stop earlier, actually. Some very nice headphones. In fact, I've got those exact headphones, so he's copying me there.
Doesn't look too inclement for now.
No,
obviously,
it's not going to rain,
chilly.
is it?
Everywhere you look on the grid, everybody's wearing their winter jackets still, but no, the forecast, as you say, was for drizzle and showers, but no, beautiful, fluffy Simpsons clouds in the sky as we hear the national anthem. Or not.
They're trying to find the tape, I guess, at Okayama Circuit, which is in a remote part of Japan, down the lower half of Japan. It's closer towards it's beyond Kobe and that part of the world, down towards the islands, and it's the last stop on the Shinkansen line.
Yeah, when you think of the traditional shape of Japan, all the way down the bottom, really remote. The circuit itself opened in 1990, and I'll talk more about that later after the much previewed national anthem.
Well, as the cherry blossom can be seen, the fans sit down and the flags are lowered. This is 2018 Super GT, brought to you in full and in English on Nismo TV. Thanks to Nissan Nismo, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Leave your comments on the YouTube channel. In front of you is the season schedule for the 28th season. Okayama, Fuji, Suzuka moving into the third spot. Chang, the Thai circuit, into round 4. Then the season seems to take a more normal form, but the Suzuka race is much shorter, no 1,000 kilometers this year. That's been replaced by a 10-hour GT3 and GT300 race. More on that later on the season as the entry list begins to take shape. I've seen 30-plus cars on that entry list, and I think it's going to grow.
Huge. It's going to be huge, and the race duration varies from the shorter races, 250 kilometers and 300 kilometers, which is what we have today, through to the longer 500-mile races. So a sprint event for today. We're expecting just a single driver change in the middle, and the crowd clearly wrapped up there, Sam, against the cold. It is very, very chilly today as the cars are just about to make their way off the grid for their first of 2 formation laps behind the local police force.
And that's going to have a big effect on tyre temperatures. No tyre warmers, of course, in Super GT, and it's going to be interesting to see which compounds they go for. Now, how long the tyres last, there's probably only going to be 1 pit stop in this race for fuel and tyres and driver change, and it's going to be interesting to see who can make those tyres last, and it could have a massive effect at the end of the race. And will the weather stay dry throughout? Here comes Mr. Orange Jacket. He's looking happy to be back this year. He's declaring the event open, as you can see, and saying, welcome to the Super GT season for 2018. Thank you very much. There you go. Little smile on his face. That was a good opening from Mr. Orange Jacket. We'll see him through the year. Orange Jacket, of course, is from Autobacks, which is Super Autobacks, I think it is this year. And it's like a mega Halfords or a mega Napa if you're from the States. It's a big automotive sales channel. And I've noticed that you actually have Autobacks in France.
Très bien. There we go. 1 minute till the green flag. You touched on, Sam, the tyre war in this series, and not only are the tyre compounds all designed in specific for the vehicles they're on, but the construction of tyre as well. So even though we've got the same cars running on different tyres, we can expect very different performance levels.
And there's the girl with the large boots coming on to tell us it's 30 seconds to race start time. But there's only two police motorcycle outriders here at Okayama, which is normally we get about a whole parade of police cars and we play guess the car, but no, not so much. We only get 2 motorcycles this year. Hopefully they both stay on. It was Okayama when they fell off.
Look at the number of cars on the grid. Look at the variety there at the back, just looking at the eclectic mix in the GT300 grid. Lamborghini on pole, Bentley back there, the Audi is at the front, the BMW's near the front. The tight, technical, twisty nature of the circuit here, combined with the long straight, almost has sort of seemed to have handed the GT300 advantage to the FIA GT cars, with the Lamborghini being on pole. So it's going to be a fascinating battle in both classes as we set off finally on the parade lap.
There is a balanced performance in the GT300. They balance the individual cars and the different car types in that category. There is no balance of performance in GT500 really. The Honda has a slight balance of performance because it's mid-engined, whereas the rest are front-engined, but certainly they don't balance the individual tyre manufacturers. And that's going to be key at the start of this race because of that wet qualifying session. Will those Michelins on the Forum Engineering car and the number 23 Nissan car come in and start working really, really well? Or will the Bridgestones and Yokohamas come into their own? At a very long shot, could those Dunlops and one of those Hondas work?
Yeah, the wet weather in the second half of qualifying, Sam, as you say, has really mixed it up. The field were here on the 17th and 18th of March for 2 days of testing, both of which were dry, so they really know the setup and the characteristics of the car and the tyre around here in the dry. But the teams that would expect to be at the front, perhaps a little bit further back, and unlike this situation we had last year where we had Toyota, Lexus dominance from the start, nobody is a clear favourite this year. It's going to be a battle from the start between Honda, between Nissan and between Lexus.
Now, if you are watching us on Facebook Live at the moment, unfortunately that stream is going to come to a stop, but that doesn't mean you don't have to stop watching us. Type in NISMO.TV into your web browser or mobile phone or whatever smoke signal you tend to choose, and you will be able to watch the race and all of this in full with, I think, both studio cam and the full race coverage. Well, you definitely get the full race coverage. I look at our producer and we're getting the race coverage, definitely.
Very confident.
And if you really want to look at us, you might be able to. So absolutely type in NISMO.TV into your browser and that will have you up on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch this race in full, uninterrupted, and in English. Now, as you see, the policemen are going to disappear, and that little Honda NSX road car takes up the lead in front of that number 17 Keihin NSX GT, which is the GT500 car. Now you can see a really good illustration of what is the difference between a NSX road car and a GT500. But look just behind those two NSXs on the front row, and you'll see a Nissan GT-R, a Lexus, another NSX, and then you'll see a gaggle of GT-Rs, and those are the cars to watch. And we're stopping on the starting grid. Now that's unusual. Has he got this wrong?
Yeah, this is very unusual.
We've got a new start procedure here in SuperGT 2018. Now I did hear that they were going to form up the grid and make it a little bit more orderly than they had in the past, but this is completely new. I didn't expect them to actually have to stop on the starting grid, and that is what they're happening. You will see at the end of this warm-up lap, you will see two starts. You'll see a GT500 start and a GT300 start. One of the other rule changes for this year, there's going to be full course yellows, possibly.
Yep.
So a bit like the virtual safety car you see in Formula 1.
What is nice as well is you can see, as the cars line up on the grid here, Sam, the yellow headlights on the cars running towards the rear of the field, running with a yellow tint on their lenses. That marks out the GT300 runners, and the quicker cars, the GT500 cars at the front, running with the clear white headlight lenses. So they have bright white headlights for the GT500s and yellow for the GT300s. And there again is that eclectic mix of the older mother chassis, the more traditional JAF GT style GT300s, and the new bigger FIA GT3 cars. So off now for the formation lap behind the safety car, a little bit quicker than the lap behind the police motorcyclists, and a real chance for the drivers to get desperately needed temperature into the wheels, tyres, the brakes. So they're working the brakes hard to get temperature into the wheel, to get temperature then into the tyre, so bringing the tyres up to the correct operating pressure.
3.7 kilometres this Okayama circuit with some interesting corner names of great history. Rob will be telling us about that in a moment. However, just a comment about what happened this time 12 months ago. There were Hondas on pole there as well, but only one of them started the race, and we didn't get a full race start 12 months ago because every single Honda conked out before the start line. Will they make it this year? I think they've got over those engine dramas they had last year, but let's wait and see. Anything can happen in Super GT, and as Murray Walker would put it, it usually does.
So as they come down the downhill straight towards the hairpin at turn 5, as you were saying, Sam, we were talking a moment ago about these iconic corner names. First corner, not so iconic, traditionally named first corner, turn 1. Then we come into Williams, after Frank Williams, then into the Moss S. Corner 4 named after Richard Atwood.
That's where they are now, I think.
Corner 5 is where they are now, coming down into the hairpin. And then we come out into Revolver, which is a technical, fast downhill left-hander. Into turn 7 where they are now. This is named after David Piper. Lots of drivers from the sort of late 1960s, early 70s. Short straight before turn 8, another tight left at Redmond into 9, which is a right-hand hairpin. So they make the left here. They then head uphill round into the final hairpin, and then it's a downhill kind of dash through turn 10, a kink at Mike Knight corner.
Well, we're getting a very different start procedure because there's a big sign being held up saying grid. Now, I think that means the drivers need to form up in a 2x2 formation, which they're not really doing in GT500s. They need to back up the field, And that's not really happening because we're going to be racing in a minute. If you are watching on YouTube and you're seeing us and you want to see the racing action, there's a little button at the bottom of the screen, but the red lights are on and we are about to go racing on Nismo TV for the first time in 2018. This is Super GT and the lights go green, and already the Raybrick NSX driven by Jenson Button gets a good run. Big puffs of smoke out the back of one of the Lexus cars there, but into second position goes the Forum Engineering, and into third goes number 23, the red car, Nissan GT-Rs, and up almost into the lead, round the outside there. That's
brilliant.
Number 23.
Absolutely brilliant move from Quintarelli, round the outside. Oh, awesome. As we look into the split screen now, the GT300s make their start. Remember, Marco Mappelli started on pole in the Lamborghini on the left-hand side there, and going back to the battle for the GT500s. I don't know where to look, Sam.
You watch the GT500s, I'm watching the GT300s, but that is the number 23 car, the red car, the red Nismo, having a fantastic attempt to get into the lead round the outside of that Honda, and he's got a tail gunner. While in GT3, it's Audi versus Lamborghini versus the Gainer GT3 GT-R for the top three in GT300. But it's like the M25 coming into Dartford Tolls on a Friday night. There's cars all over the road in GT3, and this is what I thought. Those Michelin tyres have come into their own in these cold temperatures straight away.
Quintarelli looked like a wild animal on the grid, really, really focused, and he looks like a wild animal in the car. He's positioning that big Nissan everywhere he can to try and put off the driver in the Honda as they make their way round now through the last corner. And they're three abreast in GT300.
No, that's not going to end well. I mean, these guys have been off the leash since the Nismo Festival. Now they've got to race properly. There is the Gainer Tanax GT-R. Brand new spec, lower engine, move rearward, better aerodynamics on that car. Available to customers now. Talk to your local Nissan dealer. Oh, there you go. So this is the battle for the lead in GT300. The Gainer Tanix 11 car has got up into second position. Sadly, no Bjorn Bernheim at the wheel of that. Good friend of Nismo TV. We'll be hearing from him later in the season, I suspect. But look at this battle going on. The Audi is dropping back, and this could be doing there's damage on the front of that Audi, you know?
No, there's not. There's just a wonky vinyl graphic on the front. It looks like damage, but no, it's not. It's just the way the car is liveried. But Marco Mappelli still leads, and I want to flick back to the GT500 battle, see if Quintarelli has got past Kogori.
Oh, it's been so long, hasn't it? I've missed this. 2 laps in, and it feels like 2 seconds in.
This is why Super GT is the best GT championship in the world. You know, the GT500s give the grid a unique flavour, but look at how close the racing is between the different machinery, the balance of performance working so well in GT300. As we see the Nissan lining up a run as they come down the back straight, is he going to look around the outside at the hairpin, Sam? I think he is.
He's going to try and go around there. Yasuda, who has got great form in racing in Super GT, is trying to get around the outside. Didn't quite make that work. There is the Hoppy GT86. That's one of the carbon fibre chassis Toyota cars there with that very familiar looking V8 engine in the front of it. There is a Toyota Prius. Yes, you did hear me right. Toyota Prius in GT racing. But here's the lead in GT500. The Keihin car, driven by Kogure-san, seems to have got a bit of a gap on the number 23 and the Forum Engineering at GTRs. But could it be that their tyres have come in, or that are you seeing Ronnie Quintarelli just dropping back, saving his own?
Looking at how the Honda is now handling, he's moving that car around with a good deal more confidence than he was, and perhaps the mid-engine configuration of the Honda, it's just a little bit more gentle on its front tyres. Remember, the Nissan has the engine in the front, more weight over the front axle. That will have brought the front tyres up to temperature, but now the Honda's fully up to speed. Perhaps the slightly more nimble nature of that mid-engined car is helping the race leader. As there we're looking at Jenson Button enjoying his first start in Super GT in the 2018 championship. One-off race last year, but now doing the whole season, which is a great endorsement of the championship, and to have Jenson along, well, it's brought us a few more fans, so welcome to those guys too.
Well, it was interesting because Jenson Button did watch Super GT on Nismo TV and decided he liked the look of it and is committed to that for the full season. So Nismo TV bringing more fans into the sport and getting them up close. Unfortunately, his car's got the wrong letter on the front of it. 2009 World Champion, though, not looking in World Championship form at the moment. Lexus, though, surprisingly off the pace at the moment.
This time last year, we were looking at almost a Lexus whitewash and nowhere to be seen. In fact, there is the championship leader in the championship winner of last year's series.
Well, the cameras does seem to be focusing on this Raybrick car rather a lot. That's just because it's got a celebrity driver in it, not because it is up the front of the field. There is Jan Mardenborough, a few stops behind Button, another one of the British drivers in the series. There's quite a few British drivers knocking around in Super GT this season, and it almost looked like the car was slowing there, but I don't think it was. It was just the camera angle.
Yeah, it's the camera angle coming out of Revolver corner, and yeah, seeing Jenson Button in the same shot as Jan Mardenborough makes me smile. You kind of think back to where Jan has come from as we take a look at the start, and it was the championship winner from last year that had that little puff of smoke, Sam, as they came into turn one. And
there was contact there, or very near contact, between Jenson Button and I'm not quite sure which driver started, the number 3 Nissan GT-R GT500. As I looked down,
Motoyama-san.
Yeah, Satoshi Motoyama. Just feather on it. Now that number 3, the white GT-R GT500, which I think we're going to have to call the white car unless someone on the chat comes up with a better name for it than that.
White car's good, works for me.
It's run by BMAX Engineering, who raced in GT300 for many years. Jan Mardenborough was driving for them, and they've decided to make the step up to GT500, and they are looking particularly strong, and quite a few of the other teams are worried about them. But there we see the top 3 in GT300. The Manipa Lamborghini managing to cling onto that lead. I don't think it would keep it, followed by the Gainer Tanax GT-R and the Hoppy GT86. Hoppy is a non-alcoholic beery sort of drink, but regularly drunk with sochu.
He's looking quite handy as the Hoppy car, and the Gainer Tanax GT-R leaves a big hole in the air if he can enjoy the tow as they come down the front straight into the first corner. Look at that in the background.
That was the Leon Mercedes AMG GT, really on the verge of pushing one of the Toyota Priuses. I think that's the 31 car driven by Koki Saga, right up against the pit wall. Now, what's going on here is Yasuda is being slowed down by Sabossi in the Hoppy 86. Now, the Hoppy 86 uses its tyres more evenly and it actually has a longer tyre life than the GT3 cars, because that is one of the carbon fibre monocoque cars, and really squeezed there on the exit of the corner by Yasuda. And that is a very close. It does look like that Audi Pine has got broken bodywork because of that wonky sticker.
It does. The Hoppy car really seeming to suit the technical nature of the circuit here. The road surface is quite abrasive, and as you can see, looking at the radius of these curves, there's not a huge amount of really fast sweeping corners. We've got a couple of really long straights at Okayama, but the corners are quite slow, technical slow and medium speed corners. And yeah, the Lamborghini and the Nissan at the front still tightly packed together, keeping the what's that, 8 or 9 cars together at the head of the GT300 field.
Now, there's often a lot of discussion about the pace of the GT500 cars. Just how fast are they? Well, I've been in one. The answer is, and you can see that video elsewhere on NISMO TV, so save that one for later today before some Formula 1 happens. And the answer is very fast. We were hoping last year to get a real comparison between a GT500 and a 2017 and the new spec FIA WEC LMP2 car, because we think the GT500s are actually slightly faster than those cars. They've certainly got more power, but unfortunately the weather at Fuji Speedway meant that we didn't get a realistic comparison. Hopefully we'll get that this year, but to put it into context, the last time we had a proper comparison between the two cars, the GT500 cars were slightly quicker than an Audi R18 LMP1 around Fuji Speedway.
To give you an idea, around this particular track, which is tight and technical and twisty, this circuit hosted the Pacific Grand Prix in 1994 and 95, and Michael Schumacher holds the lap record at a 1:14. In the dry round here, the GT500 cars are now doing 1:18, so they're within 4 seconds of Michael Schumacher in a Formula 1 car the last time the F1 cars came here. Sure, Formula 1 has moved on a little bit since then, but to be on a tight technical circuit within 4 seconds of a 700 horsepower single-seater gives you an idea of just the capability of those cars. And remember, as you said earlier, Sam, just a small capacity petrol engine.
And of course, if you want to put that into context, that would have qualified these GT500 cars 19th on the grid for the 1995 Pacific Grand Prix, just ahead of Gianni Morbidelli in the footwork.
Brilliant, absolutely. Don't you just love it?
And that was a very quick bit of Wikipedia there, so I'm sure RJ O'Connell from Super GT World will be correcting me there. Which question coming in, is this the race debut for the 2018 specification Nissan GT-R GT3? Well, there was a test race at the Nürburgring last year.
Did they race at Zolder yesterday?
And I'm just trying to work out if there was the race in the sprint, and I'm not sure which spec car that was.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which spec the Super Tight Q car is, so I'm hoping RJ O'Connell from SuperGT World will be able to update us on which specification Nissan GT-R GT3 was racing in that. But what we're seeing now is the GT500 cars finding the tail of the GT300 traffic. Now, this is normally where the field starts the concertina and the action really does get to beginning. But the Keihin NSX really is beginning to build a gap, 2.3 seconds over the number 23 Motul GT-R. You can see it in the background there, passing the car we like to call Bumblebee. That is the yellow and black stripes GT-R GT3, and there is the field passing through the GT500 field, passing through the GT300 field, right down to 10th position. They went past quite quickly there.
It's so easy to miss cars. I just caught the Gulf liveried Porsche there. First time we've seen that car today. We only saw the Bentley once as that came onto the back of the grid. The Audi keeps flashing through. We haven't spoken about the Lexus RCFs. So much variety here as the Gaynor Tanax car, I think, is a little bit closer now to the Lamborghini.
I think so. Now, Alricate has just said to us on the chat, we are reading the chat, by the way, as the race goes on, so we love your comments coming in. We love to get you involved in this coverage, and, you know, don't forget the likes and subscribes, even if you're watching this after the live stream, because these races are actually are available on demand. You can watch, I think, now 2.5 years worth of Super GT in full on this channel if you've got a really nothing else to do on a Monday, but I'd say absolutely do it because there's some fantastic racing, and he's trying to go round the outside there. Yasuda really wants this Lamborghini, but the number 25 Hoppy sponsored GT86 really wants the back of Yasuda as well.
Here we go, 3 for the lead as they come down the back straight, heading down round the little left-hand kink, coming down to turn 5, and the Nissan's positioned beautifully on the inside. If he holds the line here, is the Hoppy GT86 going to follow him through? No, so Nissan takes the lead ahead of the Lamborghini with the Hoppy smaller car tucking in behind.
That's a pretty cool cap, isn't it?
Urban.
Yeah, very urban. Well, not so urban is the Lamborghini. He's going to lose out to that Hoppy, but the GT500 leader is right on the tail of this lead battle in GT300, and they're not paying attention to what's behind them.
This is going to play into Quintarelli's hands. Even though he's got a few GT300 cars immediately in and around him, this will have certainly held up Kogori-san.
The Hoppy car saw him coming, but the Lamborghini, the Manipa Lamborghini, didn't see the Keihin NSX right behind him. Now he's going to blast by them on straight. Now somebody's asking on the chat, what sort of racing is this? Is this GT3? No. There are GT3 cars in this race, but have a look at that Keihin NSX and look at the way it dispatches that Nissan GT-R GT500. It's just, well, I got confused there because I saw the red car working its way up the field, and the gap has come down, Rob.
Takagi in the bright orange BMW just tucked in behind Quintarelli as he made a move on a Lexus. So there's GT300s passing each other as the GT500s come through the field. This is just bonkers as they make their way out of Atwood Corner, turn 4, up onto the back straight. The longer straights give the GT500 cars a chance to stretch their legs and cut past the GT300s, but just look how closely they're battling. Wow. And that orange BMW, remember, is a GT300 car.
That is and we would say GT300. GT300 in that case for that BMW, which nearly runs Nick Cassidy off the track there, is
and actually
it does run it off the track.
That's our championship winner from last year, Nick Cassidy there, being run completely off the road there, coming out of Revolver Corner. Really technical downhill section. You can see here the left-hand drive BMW has that Lexus completely in his blind spot, and I think there might have even been a little bit of contact there. So.
No, I think he didn't. There wasn't contact, but the BMW was trying to defend against the Toyota Prius. Yes, I did say that right, Toyota Prius. And it just forced Nick Cassidy, last year's champion, off the track because the BMW didn't know the GT500 was there. Now, if you don't know the difference between a GT500 and a GT300, well, the difference is the GT500s are a lot faster. But look at that battle between the Zensarumo Lexus and the Raybrig NSX. That's Jensen Button, but he's defending the Wedsport LC500 Lexus and GT500 as well. And they are swapping positions as they go through this traffic like crazy. Well, the big difference is the GT500 is a hell of a lot faster. Nearly 700 brake horsepower, or depending who you listen to, maybe even 700 brake horsepower. and they are a lot faster than the GT3, but GT300 cars. The biggest difference, though, as you say, Rob, is the headlights. You can tell them the white headlights means it's really fast, and the yellow headlights not so fast.
Oh, Jenson Button's going to be absolutely loving this. This is just what a racing driver lives for. Racing, dicing for position, cutting through traffic. This is what he's missed in Formula One. He's left the door wide open.
He's just missed it. He's just missed a position, and Jan Mardenborough now right on the tail of Jenson Button, but trying to get around the outside of a backmarker and overtake Jenson Button in one move. Even the Welshman can't do that, and the Arta Autobacks GT500 goes round. No, that's not the Arta Autobacks. That is the GT3 Arta Autobacks GT300 car, which looks very like the GT500, I think. Now I'm getting confused. No, it is the GT500 that is battling with Jan Mardenborough.
Yeah, the cars are still 3 abreast. There's a line of 28 of them, and they're all going round nose to tail. Oh, Jan got really close on the back of the Autobacks car there.
And someone is actually off the track. In the we saw it a few corners ago. There's a car off the track somewhere down the back of the field, but we haven't even had time to look at it. We've just exceptional amount of traffic. Now, trying to call who's passing who in GT300 as the GT500s are battling is very difficult indeed.
I'm pretty sure Nissan leads GT300.
Yes.
There was a Lamborghini close behind him, but yes, we're still leading. The Gainer car still leads in GT300. Top of the screen, the Keihin NSX still leads GT500. But the action as they make their way through these fast S's at the Moss S is just nose to tail.
And it's just such a big gaggle of cars out there. It's just really exciting to see all of this. But there, Jenson Button now trying to go wheel to wheel with the Wed Sport car, which is trying to make the move on it. But look behind him, there is the Arta NSX with Jan Mardenborough in the blue car, the Calsonic. Strangely off the pace here. He wasn't that quick in the rain, which is unusual for a Welshman.
I thought that Jan would have had stronger pace here. I thought he would have qualified a little bit further up, but he's looking very, very racy. Another car further down than we've seen them in the past has been the Heikki Kovalainen, Kamui Kobayashi, Denso Lexus.
Jan Mardenborough now getting a run on the Arta NSX. The reason for that is they're being slowed down by the GT300 leading pack, and there's contact there between the Audi with the wonky sticker and Jenson Button in the NSX there, and that the Audi with the wonky sticker is going to get very wonky if he doesn't pay attention to his mirrors.
So here we go, the last three, and there
Mardenborough descending against, I think that's Heikki Kovalainen.
Yeah, Kovalainen started that car. Jan defends into turn one, and coming up behind the Hoppy car. He's really good in his mirrors. He's just positioning his car carefully and letting the GT500 cars pick him off one by one. 13 laps completed, or this is lap 13, and no time to breathe as the 2016 champions are right down the back of the field there in GT500, but working their way back through. But Jan Mardenborough not giving up on anything here, working his way through on the Calsonic, in the Calsonic GT-R GT500. But the Michelin tyres in the front two GT-Rs do seem to be working a little bit better at the moment. They do. So that was the leader of the GT300s that the GT500 leader has just got past, and for the first time in a long time we can see the gap between Kaguri and Quintarelli, and with the third position Forum Engineering Oliveira car there on the front straight, P1, P2, P3.
God, well, now we've got time to breathe as the GT500s escape that traffic for a moment.
For another 5 laps, yeah. Then they'll be back into doing all that again.
Yeah, and you get this in Super GT, the ebb and flow of the race. There we get a chance to really have a look at the Craft Sports sponsored, Motul sponsored as well, Nissan GT-R GT500, the white car. It needs a new name there. And here you get the top 12, 13 cars, 14, there's the GT500 running order. The field is spread by 32 seconds. The Motul NSX, we haven't really seen much, is having a very bad race actually.
Yeah, not great. Another car not having a great race is the 88 Lamborghini, our erstwhile GT300 leader. You can see he's now the driver of a train, with a train of cars behind him waiting to come past. And
the first carriage in that train is the number 31 at Toyota Prius, powered by an LMP1 engine. And yes, it is a hybrid.
You say you'd like a Nismo Leaf. I fancy an LMP1 engined road car. That sounds like a good laugh as well. Yeah, loses another place on the back straight.
Well, here you go, nearly 4 wide, because that BMW, everyone wants to put that BMW on the dirt today, doesn't it?
They need to paint it a brighter colour so people can see it, Sam.
I'm just trying to see who started that BMW, because it's not quite bright enough that, it's if you see that Arta BMW in the
Takagi's son started it, and then Sean Walkinshaw will be bringing it to the flag. When do you think we're going to start to see early stoppers, early driver changes, refueling stops?
Really, lap 38 through to about 44 is really the pit window. But there are cars who break that pit window, such as the Lotus Evora, who could go very, very long in GT300 and really change the strategy and change the mix of the race, because you can sometimes see that car going very deep into the race. But always it's the second driver which is the slower in the Evora. I always wonder why they don't put the slower driver in first and then go long in the second half of the race.
Having just watched the quality of driving from both the GT500 and the GT300 drivers as they were dicing their way through the traffic there, that's probably why the traffic tends to be a little bit more spaced out for the second driver. But I was just thinking about the pit stop windows, the possibilities. You can get a sense around the Okayama circuit here of just how much time the GT500 guys are losing when they come around to lap this gaggle of GT300 cars, and that's happening once every 7 or 8 laps currently.
Now that Manipa Lamborghini is really, really starting to struggle for pace now, down to 5th from the lead. It's on the same tyres as the BMW behind it. Now look how much the BMW can move around. Now is the BMW moving to get heat, or is he moving to get past?
No, I think he's just moving to show the driver of the Lamborghini that he's there. He's keen to get by. Rear visibility in the Lamborghini is traditionally really, really poor because of the high rear haunches, and yeah, he's manoeuvring that bright orange BMW just to let the driver know, hey, I'm keen, I want to get by. Expect me coming by and pushing hard very, very shortly, and I think we're going to see him make a move down into the last corner or at the end of the front straight into turn 1.
Well, Chain Invicta has told me on Twitter it's the debut of the 2018 spec GT-R GT3 in Japan. What are we seeing a replay of here? Some Lexus on Lexus violence?
Lexus on Lexus into turn 1.
And Cassidy goes around the outside. Very neatly. Almost like it was planned. Up to 4th position there, Nick Cassidy from New Zealand. He of the difficult Champagne opening. They did actually practice after the. If you don't know what we're talking about, after this race, go and watch Super GT on Nismo TV from last season, which you can watch in full on demand. And well, all I'll say is Nick Cassidy had to go away and practice Champagne opening. But here's a battle for the lead in GT300. The Hoppy 86 is now alongside the Gainer Tanax GT-R. And hasn't quite got it, and his headlights aren't working.
Yeah, we're going to see who's got the highest top speed, and as we thought, the bigger Nissan GT-R has the better top speed, but it is looking a little more cumbersome through the corners, and the Audi R8 lurking in the background there. He's turned his tyres back on. He dropped back a little bit at the start, but Richard Lyons looking very racy in that car.
We're getting back into the traffic now. This Nissan number 23 is right on the tail of the Keihin NSX.
That's for the lead, isn't it?
It is.
Brilliant. Okay, so Quintarelli, while we've been focusing on the GT300s, has now chipped away, and brought down what was almost a 3-second gap to, 2 car lengths, Sam?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that came in traffic or if that was just a little bit of a gentle evolution, but I do suspect it was a gentle evolution because Quintarelli is one of these very smart thinking drivers, and as you described it, he has won everything.
Yeah, I was just sort of doing a little bit of pre-season preparation, and you sort of think Ronnie Quintarelli is a name that you know he's done very, very well in Super GT. He's won this and he's won that, and then you sort of look a little bit further back, and yeah, Ronnie Quintarelli won the Japanese F3 Championship in 2004. He was a Formula 1 test driver in 2006. You're like, oh, blimey, okay, and he's not even 40 yet. Battling door-to-door again in GT300s. They make their way down the back straight. The Hoppy car right in the mix with the Prius.
So that is an LMP2 engine. Oh, no, it's not. An LMP2 engine against the LMP1 engine. The LMP1 engine, of course, in the Prius with the Audi there. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is the top 4 in GT300, just swapping position. The Audi now up to second.
And again, the driver of the Audi, a previous Super GT 500 championship winner.
And here is the battle for first, second and third in GT 500. And those Michelin tyres now coming into their own. If Kagure holds off Ronnie Quintarelli for much longer, as we've got battles in both classes, that's why we've gone to the split screen. This is unusual in Super GT that we have both lead battles going on at the same time. Flashing his lights like crazy there in the Keihin NSX, but round the outside of that Toyota, that Lexus is Oh no, he lost a bit of time there in number 23, but these Michelin tyres on the two Nissan GT-R GT500s really working very well indeed.
Traffic cost Quintarelli a little bit there, and JP Oliveira looking really racy behind. The Cahin NSX pulled out another car length, but I think Quintarelli is visibly closing him down in the Motul sponsored number 23 Nissan.
Now I wonder if that was an example, if this strategy is an example of Nissan's intelligent mobility, or whether it's just very smart driving from an Italian. I think it's the Michelin tyres on those two GT-R GT500s, because the Michelins are exclusive to Nissan in the GT500.
I'm absolutely loving this. I don't know which screen to look at. It's just hit like and hit subscribe if you're as excited as Sam and I.
Well, the producer seems to think that GT300 is what we should be talking about, and it is Nissan versus Audi. Wonky sticker Audi in second position. That's going to stick for the year, I think. And you've got the hoppy GT86 followed by the Toyota Prius, and there in the background is the BMW beginning to close in, and as is the Subaru BRZ is now on the hunt. Now the Subaru BRZ is very good on its Dunlop tyres. Lamborghini back to 7th in class, so our leader who was there is Lyons speaking of our leader. A change of lead in GT300s. They come down into turn 11. Richard Lyons moves up past the Nissan in the Audi to take the lead. And I think he's going to lose second position now. Richard Lyons, of course, has some form in Super GT. He's done a bit. And I think in a Nissan. He has a very, very experienced driver, old sparring partner of Jenson Buttons from bygone days of single-seater racing. And Richard, one of a crop of professional racing drivers now based in Japan, doing really well out of the Super GT domestic GT series. Now, it's really interesting to see that the fact that the number 11 Gaynor Tanak's car is beginning quite clearly to lose pace to the rest of the cars around it, and you saw the way the rear end of the car moved there. His tyres are going, aren't they? Yeah, particularly the rears. He's struggling coming out of corners, so if you just watch as they come out of the next downhill hairpin, he's going to have to try and work the car to keep the car right to avoid losing too much time before coming down into Revolver corner. Now that 25 car, the Hoppy 86, is said by various drivers to have very, very good chassis balance, which means it doesn't... Well, there's a huge accident. It is Bumblebee has hit the wall. The run-up GT3 GT-R, that's the old specification, has had a really hard front end hit into the wall. Not quite sure how that happened. Let's see. The NSX. Oh, that's a terrible... Is that the car guy NSX, number 34? Just goes straight into the back of the GT-R GT3 GT300, hard into the wall. Yeah, hard. And that was just, he just outbraked himself, didn't he, the NSX?
Very
pushed him in.
So hard into the wall at the hairpin. And looking at the amount of debris, I think we're going to be looking at perhaps a full course yellow. So the Honda continues without his bonnet. He's coming around just ahead of the D-Station Porsche there.
He's got to get a driving moral hazard penalty for that.
Yeah, completely. That was. I looked at it and thought, oh yeah, he just got torpedoed.
Now, you don't have driving standards penalties in Super GT, you have moral hazard penalties, and there nearly another moral hazard penalty for the very battered NSX there. You didn't see the number 34 GT-R coming. There you go, top 3 in GT500. We haven't gone full course yellow or safety car as yet, which is a surprise. And that wasn't the car guy NSX, of course. I think that was the Motul. The Motul sponsored. Team name escapes me just for a moment because we're learning this first race of this season. We're still learning names. Look at the throw. That's a Nissan Skyline, I think. First response operation throw car, as you see it. And if you think I made a mistake, at the Nissan Skyline isn't an SUV, yes it is.
It is now.
No, it definitely is. I will put a picture on Twitter. And the Motul Ortec. I'm being shown a sign saying Motul Ortec GT-R Ronnie Quintarelli and Sugio Matsuda. Yes, as it has been for many years. And as is right in the world. But here you see that Subaru BRZ now right on the tail of the BMW for 5th position in GT300. There is 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th and 5th in GT300. They are... No, and 6th. Yeah, we've lost the lead. There he is.
There's the leader.
Wonky Sticker Audi is leading.
Streaking away in Wonky Sticker. I'm amazed they haven't gone full course yellow yet, Sam. I'm hesitating because every time we get a shot of a marshal's post, there we see another track vehicle coming on there.
That was another one of those skylines. And being passed into third position, it's Nick Cassidy. He's on the charge now, right on the tail. It got past, well, it's just got past the Forum Engineering car, and he's working his way up. So Lexus now on the charge. There goes one of the Skyline response vehicles. One of the things you see in Japanese racing is, and it's unique to Japanese racing, really, is that the course cars just carry on around the track while the race is going on with just a look out for me sort of flag, and they all obey that flag. There you go, double waved yellows and a white flag, and they all obey it.
And you can see the drivers slowing down quite considerably, and this is going to cost the GT500 cars if they find themselves in a gaggle of GT300s. The circuit is neutralised for probably 400 or 500 metres around that hairpin section, so that's going to limit their overtaking manoeuvres, so they're going to lose a little bit of time if they find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time as they come down to that incident.
Yeah, but look how it's closed up this pack. I thought the British Touring Car Championship was at Brands Hatch later today, but it's all over. This is like a touring car race in Okayama, and actually I'd much rather be watching this than getting a bit, well, it looks like a nice day in Kent, but who knows, looks far more fun. And that is second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth in at GT300. There's the leader. That sticker's going to really annoy me.
And there we see a change for P3 with the Prius going down the inside of the Hoppy car. And yes, he's through.
Yeah, there it is, the LMP1 engine Prius. Now that Subaru BRZ, which we're going to be talking about very soon, we're talking about a lot of people talking about the 3.4 litre V8 LMP1 engine in the back of the Prius, not the front. A little bit controversial in Japan for that reason. You've also got the Subaru BRZ with the old WRC engine, but round the outside of Ronnie Quintarelli, Nick Cassidy, last year's champion, trying to get a run for second position, and I think he might make that one stick, but the Keihin NSX is being held up by the Leon GT300. There's contact.
And this is where they're coming down to where the race is neutralised. Look to your right there, Sam. You can see the marshals waving the yellow flags furiously.
That's not done yet, though, is it? That's absolutely not done. That Leon car was very well placed for the number 23 Nissan GT-R. And if you want to know,
Cassidy looking very aggressive there in the number one livery,
the Lexus. The Red Bull Lexus just seemed to start working there in the last few laps. Oh, the Leon car didn't see them coming. He should have done. He had quite a lot of notice on that one. And Forum Engineering now coming back into the mix, and I think Nick Cassidy needs to start losing his mirror. He's a big lunge there down there.
No, pit stop. So on lap 23, we have our first pit visitor now.
Super early.
This is, very, very early. My GCSE mathematics is telling me there is still a long way to go in this race, and he's going to have to make not only his tank of fuel last the last time, but a set of tyres as well.
That's very confident on those Michelins. But as we get to that point where the GT500 leaders are amongst the GT300 leaders, this is where it gets a little bit lively as the BRZ is just passed by the number 23.
That could work really well, Sam, because he's now not losing time. Look at the amount of time Quintarelli's losing as he cuts through P sort of 4, 3, 2 and 1 and the GT300 field.
But there's 59 laps to go there, Rob. It's just too far. That's an awful lot of tyre life to survive.
Yeah, it's huge. I wonder if they're thinking that a safety car might come out or have a full course yellow at some point.
It's not going to happen now. I mean, it would have happened already. Nick Cassidy there, Jan Mardenborough's flatmate. The two of them, very unusual situation in Japan. You have the two foreign drivers, Gaijin drivers, the Jan Mardenborough and Nick Cassidy, live together in Shinagawa in Tokyo.
I'm going to say safety in numbers, but I know it's naughtiness in numbers. And Jan Mardenborough's mum's probably listening. So, morning, Leslie, and we won't talk about that.
Well, Jan's very well behaved and has very nice glasses. You can see a video of Jan's life in Japan on Nismo TV, and it's a brilliant video, and it was a lovely meal, wasn't it? I think Cho's nodding, and I think Aid, you were there as well, were you? No, Aid, you missed out on that bit, yeah. So we're just talking to our producers in the back of the Nismo bunker here, who some of us were in the. You can see us in the video having a very nice meal. But if you want to see what Jan Mardenborough's life in Japan is like, tune into Nismo TV. But somebody who is not going to be happy is Ronnie Quintarelli, who's got a drive-through penalty. Now, is that for passing under yellow? I don't think he did, though.
I don't think he passed under yellow. Could he be guilty of boxing in Nick Cassidy under yellow? Again, a morally hazardous manoeuvre, perhaps.
I don't think there was a morally. So here's the yellow flag area. double wave yellows. He was battling with the Red Bull Toyota, you can see behind him. And the Red Bull Toyota didn't have an overlap, I don't think.
No,
And I think that's a very harsh penalty. And you saw Suzuki-san from Nismo's expression there on the pit wall, and I think he agrees with me.
Unless we have some sort of replay of Quintarelli actively passing under a yellow flag, and perhaps race control have got access to onboards that we don't here, I didn't see anything to warrant a drive-through penalty as we see Quintarelli dive right for pit in. He'll be furious.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So that is the two Michelin-shod Nissan GT-Rs, both having gone into pit lane. Don't forget the Forum Engineering car is out there somewhere working its way up on... Well, we didn't see the pit stop. I'm guessing 4 tyres and new driver and fuel, but we haven't seen that. They didn't show us the pit stop for some reason, which is unusual, actually.
Yeah, the first pit visitor is normally covered by the film crew in the pit lane, as we see. Talking of pit lane, Quintarelli
coming. How much time he's lost. Look, there goes Jan Mardenborough wheel to wheel with Heikki Kovalainen and losing position there.
Yeah, he's now gone from P2 to last.
No, there's the Forum Engineering car.
Oh, beg your pardon. So, no, he's almost last.
And the AU Toms Lexus GT500. No James Rossiter in that car this year. He has disappeared off to Super Formula and is doing some other racing through the season. Super Formula cars, of course, have the same 2-litre turbo engines as they do in Super GT. It is an engine development formula, so they are allowed to introduce a number of different specs of engine through the year. The new Nissan GT-R GT500 spec has a system of pre-chamber ignition to give you huge efficiency. A number of cars have gone down this route this season, and that just means they get a load more power and torque.
The little tag there showed JP Oliveira as still being on board the Forum Engineering car.
That is interesting. So they're going for that would suggest they're going for a 2-stop strategy,
or they had a puncture.
It could be. Each of the cars these cars do have tyre pressure monitoring systems, and it could have said, yeah, that the tyre's going to deflate if you don't stop. And that, if that is the case, that is terrible news for both of those Nissans.
It might be the case that the TV producers just haven't updated the... Is that Richard Lyons slowing? Oh, no, beg your pardon. No, it's just the white car overtaking our GT300 leader.
Yeah, we need to get used to that white car.
It might be a case that they just haven't updated the driver information. They have changed driver, but we'll wait and see. Richard Lyons now being put under pressure by the racy-looking Prius, beg your pardon.
And that is, this is the GT300 battle for the lead. Wonky sticker. R8 being chased by LMP1. The oil flag is down now.
Could be debris.
Yes. Now, this is one of the things that is different to the MSA Blue Book.
Yeah, oil or debris on the racing line. Just take care.
John Prince, who's a regular follower on Nismo TV, if you want us to interact with you on Nismo TV, just leave comments. He says, when you get a drive-through penalty, if you don't think anything's gone, can the team go complain to the officials, or is it too late? If your name's Tom Walkinshaw, you attempt it. His son Sean is in the car, so he can't attempt that. No, you can't. Your penalty's a penalty. You'd have to take it.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. We don't really know what's happened to the Forum Engineering car. We're waiting for an update. Maybe RJ O'Connell is tuned in and will update us on that. Quite why JP Oliveira is still at the wheel of that car is a surprise, but it certainly wasn't a penalty. So maybe it was that puncture, and that has destroyed their race, giving us a very different look to the top of the field. Right now it's all about the GT300 battle for the lead as Jenson Button makes his way past. Probably still wondering, still shocked by the fact there's Mintzilla. The rather leisurely, actually, old spec GT-R GT300 making its way around. They've been off the pace all weekend, actually, in that car, the Dijon Racing.
Yeah, not quite that slowly, though. I think that might be just having the early signs of some sort of technical issue. It did look to be going really slowly in comparison with the race-leading GT300 cars, as we see the Arta NSX now making his way round to the GT300 leaders.
Now the Green Tech number 31, driven by Koki Saga in second position, Toyota Prius. This car has a real Toyota Prius hybrid system. It's not from the Prius. The hybrid system, I think, comes from the Toyota Camry hybrid. It has the motor and inverter and batteries from that car, or I think capacitors from that car. and an LMP1 engine bolted to them.
As you do.
It's quite wonderful. It could be that it sounds like it is the last year for this LMP1 engine in the back of the Prius. I do hear a rumour that a GT500 four-cylinder engine is going to be put in the front of that car for next season, or possibly it might be the last year for the Prius, and a new Toyota race car may be making its Super GT debut next season. And the number 23 got a penalty for a jump start. That's a bit harsh.
On lap 28?
Yeah.
Obviously, the race stewards have spent a long time reviewing the footage then, Sam, to come up with a penalty so long after the race start. That's really unlucky for Ronnie Quintarelli.
There must have been a mighty argument about that as the...
Yeah, there must have been for them to take over 20 minutes to make the decision. Normally for a jump start it's fairly clear cut, it pops up on the timing screen, bosh, in you come, drive through penalty within 2 or 3 laps, and
I think that's extremely harsh to say it was a jump start, considering he was in 4th or 5th on the grid.
Correct.
Quite difficult when it's a rolling start to jump start. Let's have a look. What are we seeing here? It's a battle for the lead in GT300. It's
this was where the lead changed.
Yeah, we saw that. That was quite a long time ago.
As was the jump start.
Yeah, I think the perhaps might have had a tea break to watch that again. It's a different angle to what we saw before, but yeah, very neat, good move. And there is Richard Lyons in the 21 Audi R8 with a wonky sticker being harassed by Koki Saga in a Toyota Prius.
I think we're just getting to the point now. I had lap kind of 32-33 in my head for scheduled single stopping pit stop window pit visitors coming in, so we're getting to the point now where we could be flicking our interest down to the pit lane to watch the first of the cars coming in to take not only fuel and tyres but also to make their driver change.
The Prius did not see the Epson NSX coming up behind it, and the Epson NSX of course got the number 23 Ronnie Quintarelli on a mission behind that, and he's not happy where he is. And there's the Forum Engineering car, JP Oliveira, behind that, who has made a stop, but we don't know entirely what for. Ronnie Quintarelli stopped for a drive-through penalty, but it's interesting because JP Oliveira can't have stopped for very long.
No. 3 abreast as they come round the hairpin, coming down to revolve the corner. Richard Lyons right in the mix there with the GT500 cars. He had a little look down the inside of JP Oliveira there for a moment.
We're about to get a first look at the Mugen-backed NSX GT500. There it is, the motor sticker just behind the Prius.
First time we've seen that car today as well.
They've been having an absolute shocking weekend, actually. Really off the pace here at Okayama for some reason. There are... you can see it moving around there. I don't know if that's driver error or just tyres completely shot. We're still about 6, 7 laps from an ideal pit stop window. But side by side there, the motor car, just look at the way it just accelerates past the Prius and the R8. Koki Sagas needs to do something about this now. He's going to be losing time.
Yeah, you get the feeling the Audi is really starting to hold him up now, and he needs to make a move on Richard Lyons and then try and capitalise on perhaps some clean air running before then handing over the car to his teammate.
Now, there's a big shuffle of the order in the top 10 in GT300. I didn't quite see who that was. There you go, it's shuffling down. I think the GT300 may be starting their pit stop cycle, but we're just not seeing it at the moment on the TV feed. It's not the front runners, and anyway, this is far too exciting to watch without it. Now, where is the Prius going to get this move done?
Not at the end of the straights, I don't think. I think he's going to make a move either coming out of one of these tight radius corners where he's going to make the most of that slight traction advantage, or perhaps on the brakes into a hairpin. But yeah, Richard Lyons is going to make his Audi very wide indeed. He certainly won't make it easy for him.
And look at this, it's the battle for the lead overall in GT500, and it's gone down from 2.3 seconds as the Lotus didn't see the Cayenne NSX coming through.
Might have just been the camera angle. That looked relatively hairy from where we were sitting.
No, he's lost time there, because look how close that Red Bull sponsored Keeper Tom's Lexus LC, driven by Nick Cassidy.
He's just crept up, hasn't he? Qualified 9th.
Yeah.
Chip away, chip away, chip away. Oh, look, I'm right at the front now, challenging for the race lead.
and it is going to be interesting if the reigning champions can get a run on the Honda here. It's amazing, when these rules came in what, 2014 I think it was, the Honda just wasn't a competitive package. Back then it was a hybrid. They introduced a massive update at the start of last season, and Nissan is the only manufacturer not to introduce a major update. Now here we are seeing the front-running GT300s making their pit stop. There's the Leon GT.
Haruki Kurosawa jumping out of the black Mercedes there and handing over to his teammate. He said, looking down the list, Gamu-san.
And we should see that car back out on track running nicely, but I'm not quite sure why we were showing that one, the Leon car, because it's really not.
No, it's not. Really.
It's not one of these two, essentially. The number 11 Gainer Tanax car, that's not the car you just saw in front of your screen. There's two Gainer Tanax cars painted in very similar cars. Oh, now this is naughty. This is naughty. This is extremely naughty. That is the number 13. Oh, that's the pair of... He's damaged him. He's damaged him. That is a definite driving moral hazard. So what you saw there was the number 30 Toyota Prius. There are two Priuses, Prii, in this race, and the number 30 is traditionally a lot slower than the 31, which is Koki Saga there. And look, he's waited for the R8 to come up, and he's deliberately blocked him and let his teammate through. And now the R8 there is a meat in a Prius sandwich.
Yeah, and Richard in the Audi, Richard Lyons, has picked up a little bit of damage. Perhaps it's just bodywork on the tyre that might clear, but yeah. That was a relatively hard thump on the right rear corner of the Audi,
and on the front as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking for little wisps of tyre smoke from that car now.
Maybe they're trying to make the sticker go straight. Keihin NSX now under huge pressure of Nick Cassidy as the number 25 Hoppy car is in for its driver change. I'm not sure it's going to keep that pink and white livery through the season. It might be that's the special edition Sakura, pink and white livery, because you do get a special edition Hoppy, which is the Sakura, the cherry blossom livery. We'll see.
It's a good-looking car, good-looking livery.
It is, and there's a very slow Prius there. Which one is it? Is it 31 or 30? I couldn't quite see if that was 30 or 31. I think it's 31. It is. There's too much damage on the Prius. You can see the damage on the right front. Well, he's done his radiator. You can see the damage right on the right front. So that help from the number 30 has hindered their teammate. Oh, there's going to be some brilliant conversations in the pit lane after this one.
That's not good. Oh, Nick Cassidy looking down the inside of Kaguri at the at Revolver corner. Cassidy now right on the back for the race lead. Yeah, well, in the background, some of you asking what's a Mark X Toyota. Well, that's it there in the background. Not the prettiest car or the fastest car, so we probably won't talk about it again. But yeah, here's this great battle going on. I'm still astonished by this Prius on R8 on Prius. Oops. Yeah, that backfired,
didn't it?
It wasn't choreographed carefully enough. It was really unsubtly done, as we see.
I think it was downright unsporting.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Unusual for this series. You know, you very rarely see something as blatant as that occurring. So yeah.
Well, frankly, the APR. I don't know if that was instigated by the driver of the 30 car, probably trying to be overly helpful,
possibly.
And I think that probably worked because the APR team, based just sort of in Atsugi down towards Gotemba in the south of Tokyo, they're very sort of old school racers and very sporting, so I couldn't quite imagine that team doing that. But what it has meant is out in space is the Red Bull Lexus chasing the Keihin NSX, and they can't be too far off their pit stops.
Now lap 35 approaching the halfway distance, and the Lexus does seem to close the NSX down on the brakes coming into the hairpin. No immediate room for Cassidy to make a move as they come through Piper Corner. Short straight now before a sort of medium hairpin left. Quite an open corner, this one, that rises up into the tighter hairpin at turn 9. And then the descent begins to complete the lap through 10 and 11. Over the crest, down the hill. Both cars stay out to complete lap 35 and start 36.
And do you think, Cassidy, there is that... you can see the damage there on the radiator at the front of the APR Prius there. Koki Saga.
Yeah, the debris fence is looking very deranged. There's Marco Mappelli jumping in. Marco probably the quicker of the two guys in the 88 Lamborghini, so it'll be interesting to see if he can bring that Lamborghini back up the order in GT300.
Do you think Cassidy here is playing a waiting game, or is he just going to go all aggressive boxing? Because he's calmed it down a little bit. As I say that.
Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He's clearly just keeping gentle pressure applied. He's not making any rash moves. You know, you don't win championships by being rash, and although he's very, very young, he's very wise and... Donk, an immediate contact. No, I think he's made it.
I think he learnt that move from James Rossiter.
Well, yeah, as we were saying, you know, I thought that he was being a little bit more careful than that, and because the commentator means as soon as we start saying that, he has a bit of a lunge down the inside at the hairpin. But no, he's although he's young, he's quite wise, he's quite wily, and if I were in his position, I'd just be waiting for a gaggle of GT300 cars, and dude, if you go right, I'm going to go left.
Well, I think he's about to find them, but there you go. That is your immediate sign that a pit stop is coming. Nick Cassidy's teammate there, his helmet ready to go, but there is that gaggle of cars that you were describing, Rob, and I think the first of them is, it's a newly painted, we haven't seen that before, AMG GT in green and white. Hey, Cassidy's very...
Yeah, I'm just thinking perhaps
ginger around
perhaps
him,
perhaps he's picked up a little bit of damage. The tracking on the front of the car steering wheel might not be quite straight. Perhaps he's just thinking about it. But again, as soon as we start saying things like, oh, he's just moving back a bit, no, he's looking very racy. So he's had a good run on the NSX coming out of turn 4. Long back straight now, and a little bit of traffic ahead. He could make his move here, Sam.
Now, if you're enjoying this sort of racing, because I certainly am, don't forget to follow us, because he's following the car guy NSX there through the corner. That cost him a tiny amount of time. Don't forget to follow Nismo on Instagram, on YouTube. Like and subscribe, and we're on Twitter and Facebook and many other social media channels. I've seen there's Nismo's on Reddit.
Can I just mention that Heikki Kovalainen's afternoon has finished. He's handed over to Kamui Kobayashi, so the Lexus that's been running around right at the tail of the field, disappointingly. Heikki Kovalainen's body language, he looked distraught as he jumped out.
It's not been a good day for them, has it?
They've really struggled for pace there at the opening round of the 2018 Super GT Championship.
Now, you can see Cassidy is trying, but he's also being very circumspect around some of these GT300 cars. You're not seeing any big lunges. We've seen, okay, every time I say this about it, he has a big lunge, so yeah, there you go. I'm just going to stop saying he's not having a big lunge, so clearly he's about to. So
again, another good run out onto the back straight. Nice big toe. Will he look for a gap down the inside, or will he just drop in to follow? No, he's looking down the inside again, and he's made it stick there, and there was definitely contact there. Definitely contact.
That is definitely from the James Rossiter School of Racing. And James Rossiter, very aggressive driver in GT500 last year, not in it this year. Perhaps he was too aggressive, I'm not sure. James, a great driver, but he's still racing in Super Formula. And that's Jenson Button out of the car. We didn't see his car come in, but he's just swapped over. He looks slightly worried by the whole thing. And we've cut away to look at a man from the southwest of England looking a little bit disappointed with himself, rather than watch a really good battle for the lead, which is a slight shame. Nonetheless, there is the Yamamoto has taken the wheel of that car in front of the Bentley coming out. The Bentley got a big sideways into first corner, and so does the Subaru in second position, which we haven't seen on camera. The Subaru finally getting past the BMW.
Yeah, lots of these cars now as we coming around to starting off 40th lap, approaching half distance, really starting to struggle on their tyres. Drivers looking forward to handing over to their teammates, and the teammates really looking forward to getting into the cars here. We see the move where the BMW lost the place.
Oh, that's a classic racing move, isn't it, Rob? That is one you teach.
Yeah, clean exit down the inside, and yeah, the BMW, the bigger, heavier car, just struggling for traction out of the final hairpin turn 9.
Now, this Subaru BRZ, unlike the GT86, which in road car terms is an identical car, is actually a JAF GT300 car. So it actually uses the real Subaru BRZ chassis, and not very much of it is left, but it's a full-on race car, but it's really heavily developed. But that does have bits of real race car in it, including the windscreen and the A-pillar and a few bits and pieces like that. It's powered by an EJ20 flat-four boxer engine of the same sort that you used to find in the WRC. But look at that! Look at this! There's a constant puff of smoke coming out of the back of it, rather like a Haas in F1.
I think it's steam.
Do you think it's getting a bit hot?
I think that's a breather.
Yeah. I think the Subaru is getting a bit hot.
The S-Craft white car coming in behind him as well.
Now the keeper Tom's LC500 is in the lead of GT500, which wasn't on our screens, but I think that's down on pit stops.
No sign of any smoke or steam from underneath the bonnet. The driver change is complete. The fuel is going in. They've changed 2 of the tyres. So they changed 2 of the tyres, the rears, before the fuel hose was attached. Now the fuel hose is attached. They have to wait to do the fronts, because you can either fuel or do tyres at the same time.
Now the reason we're looking at that GT86, the pink and white Hoppy sponsored car, is to see where it filters out in comparison to this not at all identical BRZ. And as you see, no tyre warmers, and they look like scrubbed Dunlops there. Or the guy with the paint, doing the paint on the sidewalls, wasn't, paying much attention. Now, clearly the Hoppy 86 is going to get a big old lead there on the BRZ. There goes the BRZ. Massive diffuser, and it's still puffing away there on the left rear. It's certainly breathing something constantly.
Yeah, and he's filtered out quite a long way down the GT300 order now, hasn't he?
Well, one of the Prius is still alive, so pre-I. Oh, wonky sticker has come in from the lead of GT300, and there is the Keihin NSX. So that's that's a crucial moment actually, because it means we haven't seen it on camera, but Nick Cassidy got past the Keihin NSX on track.
Yes.
And they haven't given us a replay of that.
Well, we had that little bit of contact down at the hairpin. That's where he snuck past.
Oh, of course, yes.
And just looking now, they're having a really good look, quick visual inspection of that car at the pit stop there. We see the Arta NSX come in behind as well.
Oh, I wish that's true. That's really going to annoy me all year. And I've just noticed the text on that sticker is backwards as well.
It's wonky and backwards.
Wonky backwards sticker, all right.
Not that either of us have chronic OCD, but there we go.
I really am struggling with that. Nice smooth stop for the Keihin NSX. We have seen pit stop dramas for almost every team on the grid, actually.
Worth repeating and reminding some newcomers to our series, no tyre warmers, as you say, Sam, and on a chilly day like today, the first 2-3 corners very, very treacherous, and it will take at least a couple of laps to get the tyres up to their full working temperature. So as we follow the Keihin car round into turn 1, he's going to have to be incredibly careful for the first couple of corners. There we see a big lockup from the Audi GT3 car. That's unusual because that car would normally run with ABS. So yeah, just thinking why that would be. Maybe it's got a wheel speed problem, a wheel speed monitoring problem.
Well, half distance here or slightly past half distance here at Okayama. Round 1 of the 2018 Super GT season here at Okayama, and there is the 21 wonky sticker taking a wonky route on cold tyres. No tyre warmers in this series.
What we're looking at, yes, he's locking again. It looks like he's locking that right rear tyre. So that was the rear corner that was hit so hard by the Prius earlier, and I think he's got a problem where he might be just locking one wheel, and any form of stability intrusion like that would be terrible for the driver. He's going to have to pit.
I've not driven one of the current spec R8s, Rob. I'm not sure if you have or not, but is that a driver not pressing a button properly?
It would be some sort of failure if it's locked. If he's got ABS on 3 wheels but not on the right rear, that would be something that would be a mechanical sensor that's been damaged.
Key graphic on your screen right now is the running order in GT300. The blue blobs with a number 1 on it is how many times they've been to the pit. The number next to that is the lap they pitted on. So you can kind of ignore the top 6 cars and Nut car in 9th, but not entirely, because sometimes some of these cars that go long, and keep an eye on the Toyota Mark X for that, can work their way up the field suddenly by going long and making advantage from hitting just at the right moment.
Yes. D-Station Porsche moves down the inside of the BMW there. The D-Station Porsche relatively strong in pre-season testing. I had sort of slightly better hopes for the Porsche around here. This track with its tight infield sections really suits the rear engine layout of that car.
Slightly beyond half distance here at Okayama for round 1 of Super GT, the 2018 season here on Nismo TV. If you like it, hit subscribe and all the other nice thing. Tell us in the comments. We're on the chat. We're talking to you as the 24-car Forum Engineering is in for its proper pit stop this time. It's cloudy at Okayama. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 degrees centigrade. 40% chance of rain from this point on, the weather station is telling us. 39% humidity and an 11 mile per hour wind. What's that in kph, please?
18.
There you go. The Motul Ortec GT-R has also made its scheduled stop. Drive-through penalty for a jump start early in the race. Still not quite sure what the issue was for the Forum Engineering car. There's the Subaru BLZ still smoking away, but has got in front of the Wonky Sticker car.
The Wonky Sticker car now has got his tyres up to temperature, and perhaps he's finding that issue with that rocking tyre being less. Now the tyres are up to working temperature. These slicks designed to work from about 65 degrees onwards, and with an air temperature of only sort of 11 or 12, it's going to take a couple of laps at least to get to the required temperature.
Now just look at the gap between the leading GT500 car, you see it just at the top of the screen, and this Arta NSX in 6th position. That's because they're out of sequence on laps. These two cars you're seeing battling right now for 6th and 7th position are a lap down, because there's the Keeper Tom's Lexus in front. That's because the Keeper Tom's car hasn't pitted yet.
He's yet to make his stop.
So we'll see how they filter back out. There is the Raybrigg number 100 NSX Honda, with the K-hin just behind it. That's Jensen Button's car. The question came in on the chat here on YouTube. Where is Jensen Button? He's in the back of the garage having a cup of tea, I believe.
Yeah, Chris Bunker will have made him a nice brew by now, hopefully. So yeah, morning to Chris if you're listening.
So questions coming in. We like your questions on the chat.
Yeah, the GT300 cars. There is Chris.
And there is Jensen.
White no sugar. Morning. We were just discussing whether the GT300 cars have ABS and traction control, and yes, they do. The FIA spec cars enjoying quite a lot of driver aids as the NSXs run side by side at the hairpin at turn 5,
and they hit each other. Now, when drivers from the same manufacturer hit each other, sometimes they do get penalties from that manufacturer, and that looks like somebody might get a telling off from Honda. The same car manufacturers aren't supposed to hit each other.
No, that's the kind of golden rule. Brilliant. Okay, so now we see Cassidy handing over to Hirakawa.
This is a key moment for the race.
In my pre-season research, I was writing down to the little key facts about the boys, and I'm like, boys, one is 23 and one is 24 years old. It's like, oh no, middle age has struck, Sam, and I haven't even realised it. You know, I'm looking at drivers now who are in their very early 20s who have already made the successful transition across from single-seaters into GT cars, and Ryo Hirakawa here really working his tyres hard, coming out of the pits to try and generate that much-needed temperature and pressure.
Do you think that was what he was doing? Because I just saw that. I was thinking the way he was moving, it looked more like, are my wheels on properly?
Yeah, just having a little feel for it just as he came down into the first corner.
I was just worrying he might be having a Roman Grosjean-Haas moment.
Yeah, possibly. I saw some lovely footage of Roman consoling the tyre man, and it was like, we all race together, and sometimes the driver makes mistakes, sometimes the pit crew makes mistakes. But it was nice to see the sort of behind-the-scenes clip, if you like.
You won't see too much behind-the-scenes clippery here on Nismo TV because the racing action is a bit too good. So
I tell you what, I would love to see if we could wangle the powers that be to give us some more onboard footage. That would just be terrific. Even if it was just for the first 2 or 3 laps after a race start, that would be great to see.
Now, there are onboard cameras on most of these cars, and we do get some of that footage, but after the fact, we don't get so much of it in the race. We were promised it, but we didn't really. We got the onboard from the safety car once, and that was about it.
Another reason to check back to the NISMO YouTube channel and have a look at some of the films that we produce sort of after the event, the highlights reels. We can cut in a bit of onboard footage. I know we were watching earlier, Sam, the lap of Fuji. That's going to be coming up next on our calendar, racing at Fuji on the 3rd and 4th of May.
And that's one of the best things we get to do on NISMO TV. At the end of each year, there's something called the NISMO Festival. It takes place at Fuji Speedway. And not only we get to talk about these cars on track, we get to play with them. They're the Wacos LC500 battling with the Keeper Tom's Red Bull LC500. And this is the mid-race period where the strategy is coming into play. So Oshima there, he's taken over. It's taken over from Felix Rosenquist, we haven't really spoken about. And there is more trouble for wonky sticker number 21 Audi R8. Tomita is not having a good time of it.
Wonky rear bumper now as well. So I think that contact earlier with the Prius has damaged something that's now becoming terminal.
Karma. So what happens when you don't put a straight sticker on a car? It doesn't sound like it's got gears, does it?
Yeah,
it sounds like he can't get it into gear, yeah.
I think that there's been something wrong with the upright. That was manifested by a wheel speed sensor issue, and now the drive shaft's broken. So that earlier contact, forcing the unfortunate retirement of the not-at-all factory Audi R8. Your joke.
Now, we have two slightly different variants of the GT86 mother chassis car battling here. The yellow car behind. Just have a look at the bonnet vents on that, and if you can make it out, it's quite hard to see on the yellow. They're completely different to the bonnet vents on the Hoppy, the number 25 car, because both are prepared slightly differently, and these cars don't have to be the exact same spec to one another. There is development in the GT.
I was just going to say, we saw an overtake on the front straight under a yellow flag there.
I think we did.
For the Audi.
You're right. Oh.
It wasn't for position, it was only
still an overtake.
A lapping position.
And I think that was two overtakes actually. It was Zensarumo and no, who's that? That's the Lamborghini, isn't it?
No, I think it's the
Motul
Motul-sponsored NSX.
Well, that's irrelevant.
I'd like a replay of the overtake and the yellow, to be honest.
I'm going to use my private replay functionality.
Because the yellow flag will have been out for quite some time for the stricken Audi.
Yes, it has, yeah, and there was definite yellows there. So, well, you watch what's going on track in real time. Oh, there's the Audi getting stricken. I'm too far back. We will have a look. There's the Mark X Toyota, rare sight of that. It's still going. Unusual for that car.
Lamborghinis haven't broken down yet either.
Also unusual. No fire.
So there's the Motul NSX leaving the pit box. Looks like they've just parked the Audi there. Even though the headlights are still on, they've withdrawn the yellow flag. So the yellow flag that we're looking for on the replay here. There was definitely a couple of passes right past that way.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, there was a pass under yellow there.
That's morally hazardous to me, Sam. Morally hazardous indeed. We'll have to wait and see what race control make of it.
I'm just watching it again to see if there were two passes. So it looks to me like the number 1 Denso Lexus, he makes an overtake, as does the Zensarumo makes an overtake on a GT300 car. And the Zent backs off, but yeah, that is a definite overtake under yellow flag for the number 1 and arguable for the Zensarumo, so I think we will see some moral hazard penalties applied.
Those two 86s still together, even though they've been lapped and the GT500 cars have moved on. The Hoppy car just heads the up garage yellow derivative car.
Some change in the technical partnerships behind these cars. Dome running one of the cars. Now directly, Dome were responsible for the design of this car initially, but the teams have taken some of the responsibility on themselves to modify and develop the car. Chassis still come out of Dome's facility in Maibara. Near the bullet train line, just outside Kyoto. But getting into this rather toasty looking BMW is Sean Walkinshaw.
Sean Walkinshaw?
Yeah.
if you go to the English translation from the Super GT website, some of the names have been translated phonetically, and Richard Lyons was particularly memorable for his translation, and Sean Walkinshaw was another one. So Sean enjoying his second full season of Super GT and GT300 now.
It's a good battle, but I wish the yellow car would switch its headlights on.
Yellow car with yellow lights.
Yeah.
Just to complete the yellow look.
The Up Garage team is no longer part of the racing project Bando, I believe. They've gone their own way. Lots of team changes this year in Super GT.
I quite like that retro yellow colour scheme, you know, the Hoppy car's really modern and clearly come out of the design studio, where the Up Garage just looked a bit more 1980s.
I think it was cool, but the Up Garage changed their livery all the time, so it won't stay for the season. Something we have seen on track are the new spec GT-R GT3s. They have performed reasonably well, but Nissan has had a relatively unlucky day, I'd call it.
Yeah, maybe a little unlucky so far, but you know, on the flip side of that coin, Sam, if you arrive at the first race of a season and destroy everybody on day one, you're just going to get balanced of performance out of sight.
Exactly. One of the cars that is doing a strategy that we've seen from the Lotus, but maybe not from other series, is the Toyota Mark X. Now, the Saitama Toyopet team, this car is run by a bunch of guys who are just everyday garage mechanics who'll do the service on whatever car you take to the Saitama dealerships, Toyopet dealerships in Japan. And this car they've built themselves, they run it themselves, and it's they've got tomorrow they'll be back working on Mrs. Miggins's whatever Mark X. Now the Mark X is only available in Japan. I think in Thailand it might be available under a different name, but it's a sort of a special dealer special car made by Toyota. It's quite a cool looking thing. In roads trim, in GT300 trim, it's certainly not the prettiest car. There's Hatsune Miku looking rather more urban than she did last year. That team is up to second position because they've yet to stop 51 laps on the board. They're
really
going
long.
super long and going to move up the grid, move up the field because of that, and of all the shenanigans going on amongst this lot, frankly.
As I suggested earlier, Marco Mappelli looking particularly racy in the 88 Lamborghini as well. Marco, now a factory driver for Lamborghini, sort of was in and around European racing for quite a while, raced Ferraris. I raced against him for a while as well, and he's found his way onto the Lamborghini test roster. There was quite a controversial film that came out of him running around the Nürburgring last year in a road Lamborghini, looking suspiciously like it might have been speeded up a fraction in a couple of sections. So Marco finding himself now in a Lamborghini race seat and looking to make up some of the time his teammate lost earlier.
Well, this car hasn't been speeded up so much because Hatsune Miku is right in front of him. The Zero car, last year's GT300 champions, raced in the Spa 24 Hours.
I was just thinking, I wonder if they're coming back to Europe this year to do the same, or whether that was a one-off.
Well, they're keeping the Twitter feed going in English, so it does look like they're going to be doing some more international races with the Hatsune Miku team.
Yeah.
Didn't have the best Spa 24 Hours. Miku sort of disappeared quite quickly and ended up just being a door.
Yeah, it was amazing to have them there, though, and they brought such a presence to the paddock, and their media following, Sam, in Japan is massive.
Absolutely. Actually, the Miku car is one of the... It's called Itasha. This style of livery on the race car, the cartoons, if you like, the sort of colouring in, though. If I call it cartoons, I get told off. Hatsune Miku is a Vocaloid. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's just weird. And
it's the race leader coming around to put a lap on the Zero Mercedes. So the Keihin NSX leading, making his way past the car you've just been talking about.
Well, that Hatsune Miku is actually a big celebrity, not just in Japan, but anybody into the J culture scene. And that car is Itasha, as I say, and Itasha means painfully embarrassing.
What, like my commentary?
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but yes. The Itasha commentary. No, but it is a style of car styling, aftermarket car styling, and people have their cars covered in these anime characters and Vocaloids, and you have Itasha liveries. There used to be a few more in Super GT, but unfortunately Hatsune Miku is the only Itasha car at the moment. But I'd like to see some more Itasha liveries, and I also think a Hatsune Miku F1 car would be great. Oh, now that was quite aggressive there from the number 3 car after sports-sponsored GT-R GT500, the BMAX engineering car. Chio at the wheel of that.
I was just thinking whether that might have been a move to the pit lane or a curious defensive manoeuvre, an aggressive defensive manoeuvre, but no, yeah, it was the latter. He wasn't moving to take the pit road at all.
Well, the moves going on all the way around this 3.7 kilometre Okayama track, previously by a number of different names. Aida?
Yeah, TI Aida was how I remembered it when I was kind of in and around Japanese GT racing at the time, and yeah, it was known as the Tanaka International Circuit. It was first opened as almost as like an Ascari resort type venue, so just for...
It had an art gallery, didn't it?
Yeah, for wealthy individuals to come and just smoke their road cars around and have like a weekend away with the family, and yeah, first hosted motor racing in sort of early 1990s, and then the Pacific Grand Prix came here in 94 and 95. There's Chio's teammate, Motoyama-san.
And he's sitting looking pensive. That's a good word for that.
Yeah, very pensive, and again another name that's hugely experienced, brings pace and experience to the championship and the team.
Well, the fact this 86 on 86 battle has become the battle for the lead tells us that the Mark X has now finally stopped. Not seen by our cameras. So you will now get a slightly more realistic view of the order of things. And I have to say, the Up Garage 86 has had a really good, if slightly anonymous, first half of the race. But moving right up through the field, up to the pit stops, it's gone very nicely for that yellow and blue GT86.
I'm going to test your Japanese racing driver knowledge and ask, are the Kobayashis...
No.
They're not...
I don't believe they are.
No, okay. I thought that he might be related to Kamui.
No, Kamui Kobayashi is not in this... Is he in this race? I think he is in this. He is in this race, yes. Yes, that's right, yeah. I got confused because they've had a shuffle round in that. Oh, very big moment there. Actually, quite a few moments now happening to Sean Walkinshaw in the BMW as he battles his way through the field. But the number 1 Lexus LC is really trying hard, but there's some really aggressive driving actually coming from the same Mercedes there, actually, rather than Walkinshaw.
Yeah, the Mercedes just finding itself in the wrong place at the wrong time at three or four consecutive corners, and that has really held up Nick Cassidy's teammate.
We'll have a look at the gaps.
Hirakawa, sorry, forgot for a moment.
There you go. The drivers have swapped around somewhat. We've got so used to the drivers over the last couple of seasons, and now they've swapped them all around. We are going to make mistakes on that. Apologise for that in advance. 814 of you have clicked the like button. There's more than 3,000 of you watching, so
come on, Mum.
Yeah. Press the like button. We can get to over 1,000. Because you know, if we go to 1,000, get over 1,000, something good will happen to a Nissan. That's the way it works here.
Jenson Button's teammate is up to second now,
and is closing the position down onto actually, quite frankly, Button didn't have a brilliant stint, but it's all coming together for his team car with Yamamoto at the wheel, and that gap has come right down. That's what I said earlier. We'll look at those gaps as it comes up on the screen. Now, I saw this battle was coming down, and
yeah, when I first spotted it, the gap was 7 seconds. It went to 5 and has been coming down about half a second a lap as we see Benson Jutton chatting with his team manager on the pit wall.
Well, Benson Jutton, I think, was talking about the tyres and how it feels, and the tyres are beginning will go away in the latter part of this thing. Lap 56 of 82. Long way to go in this race still, and there's a lot that will still happen. And at tyre management and tyre life, you see the first and second in both classes together on track there. You will see the whole field start to continue again. And now we've got 1,000 likes. Thank you very much for that. That was easy. Let's see if we can get to 2,000.
It's just starting to stagnate a little bit in terms of the race. We're coming off the end of the pit stop cycle, and I just found myself thinking, we haven't had a full course yellow yet.
No, because they've introduced this new FCY, the sort of virtual safety car, if you like, system, as Hirakawa gets the move done finally on the Wacos car. Does the Wacos car come back at him? Yes, he does. But it doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick. Coming down into Revolver. There we see the championship winners of last year moving up onto the bottom step of the podium, so up into third.
And that is a very neat, sensible move. No bumping into each other there. Now, if Nick Cassidy gets on the podium, we'll have to talk about his champagne abilities, or sparkling sake.
Lack of.
Yeah. But it is at the moment looking very good for the two Hondas up front. 1.2 seconds separating the two NSXs at the front. The GT-Rs have just been... We still don't really know what happened to the number 24 Forum Engineering car, why it made that early pit stop, but they must be really cursing their luck today, because that debatable jump start from the 23, I don't think there was a jump start. They'd be walking away with the race right now.
Yes, yeah, they would, and yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the start back to see where and how that happened, because we certainly didn't spot anything at all that looked like a jump start.
We have the technology. Benson Jutton is now a hashtag. Okay, hashtag Benson Jutton. Benson Jutton is going to be very happy if he finishes. If the race finishes like this, I think Benson Jutton would be extremely happy.
Yeah, and it will be good for the series as well. It will bring in a lot of interest from European race fans, from Formula One race fans. Imagine if you're watching Super GT, Sam, for the first time today, coming from watching a relatively small grid of Formula One cars circulate round, not overtaking each other for an hour and a half. It's just, you're going to be blown away by this. But this multi-class racing, high-quality drivers, amazing venue. Look, crowds, real spectators, real people.
Real motor racing brought to you in English, exclusively on NISMO TV.
Live.
Yeah, and on demand. You can follow this through... You actually go back and look at a whole bunch of previous races. We take a look at the cars. We get you inside in a way that no other outlet is able to do. We go inside the world of Nismo. We look at the cars, the history. There's some lovely history videos coming up. I think we still haven't done some of them. I think there's still some really good ones that we've put together that you're going to see in the coming weeks about the history, some of the great drivers in Nissan's history. And if there's things you want us to make videos about, let us know, and we'll go and make them for you.
Yeah, we have the comments up here in the studio in the Nismo bunker, so if you do want to ask us any questions, feel free, fire them over.
And as Rob watches the track, I'm just trying to watch back the start to see if we can actually work out really if there was a jump start. I don't really think there was.
It was certainly a controversial call, and it will have been something that will only be visible on the timing screens, I think, not really for the naked eye. And you know, the start looked a little messy. You know, it might have been a touch fast, but you know, it's the pole man's job to control the speed. And yeah, Quintarelli wasn't on pole; he was tucked back in the grid. He was where was he on the grid? He was
way back, fifth, sixth,
eighth, fourth row.
We have the ability to play live restarts here. I did not see a jump start there for the number 23 car. I've just watched it again. One of the things you'll be able to do if you're watching this on YouTube, on NISMO TV, is you can wind back and play the replays as you want, and then skip back to the real time. It's a lovely functionality of YouTube there, but I've just watched the start again. You see what you think. Let us know in the comments if you think you saw a jump start from Ronnie Quintarelli. I don't think I did.
No, very controversial call, and it's upset the natural ebb and flow of the race a little bit, and given the Hondas an unfortunately easy time at the head of the field. The Cahin car, as it did in pre-season testing, now leads the way.
A request has come in for NISMO TV as we see the Motul Ortec GT-R battling the BMAX Engineering Run Craft Sports GT-R with the Mintzilla, the Dijon Racing GT-R there, as well as the this is GT-R. It's the GT-R pack there altogether. The request has come in for Ronnie Quintarelli, Life in Japan, like we did Jan's Life in Japan. I think that's a really good idea. There is a good video already on NISMO TV. Ronnie Quintarelli, the 23andMe.
Yeah.
and it's worth watching that. Ronnie talks about his affection for that red car and how he likes to drive it with Sugio Matsuda, who is behind the wheel at the moment. But here in GT300 with 22 laps to go, the Hoppy and the up garage, Matsui and Kobayashi battling, and it's all a bit line astern at the moment. There's Team Shuya Engineering, the number 25, guys behind that number 25 Hoppy, pink and Sakura coloured, I think I'll call it.
I really want to see the gap between the two NSXs at the front, Sam. You know, it was coming down and down and down.
It's stabilised a little bit there.
Is it stabilised?
I think it's hanging around at about 1.2 seconds. It's got to that point where they're just thinking about their tyres, 22 laps to go, plenty of attempts to make. I mean, getting past now doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in front at the end.
Is there a preferred team within the NSX ranks? Is there a preferred squad? Because for a long time, I remember it as being the kind of Motul sponsored.
It absolutely is. I mean, that's the Mugen backed car. That's absolutely the sort of worksist, the most works of the works cars.
Yeah, ironically running around toward the tail of the
field. I mean, that's the thing. Whilst, I mean, they get given equal equipment, and it's sometimes it's down to who gets the engine upgrades first. So, obviously, in the Nissan Cup, the number 23 gets the best of everything straight away, and then the others get it as well. But in Nissan Cup, the 23 is the works car, and in Toyota, I think it's the number the Haikova lining car, Kamui Kobayashi car is the works car there. And GT300, there officially are no works cars apart from the Subaru, which is very definitely a works car. Work that one out.
The 86 is as close as we've seen them now, coming down through the Sterling Moss S's, coming down into Atwood Corner, just has a little look, and then the radius of Atwood decreases as the circuit rises up out onto the back straight, long back straight, initially uphill, now downhill as the GT500 runners move by on driver's right.
It's GT-R, GT-R and GT-R, there you go. They can almost line up for the show photo. Oh, nearly got into the Hoppy car, nearly got it back into the number 3, and that's given well, not quite, because of the presence of the Forum Engineering car, that nearly gave the up garage car a run at the Hoppy car.
Again, just shows the ebb and flow of lapping and being lapped as we see the GT86s now side by side.
This is for the lead in GT300, and that was a very good move from the up garage car.
Brilliant.
Going defensive into the corner, that was some smart driving there.
He's going to have to be careful of the Zen Tsurumo car, and he's made it through turn 11, and he's got a little gap now onto the front straight, so change for the lead. Kobayashi, are you sure he's not related? It's a spitting image of the man who's not his brother.
I don't think they are.
Look at that this week, but no, he's. I take your word for it, but there's a certain likeness between him and another Kobayashi Kamui. But great move, and look at that. He's gone from no gap at all in second to 5 or 6 car lengths coming down where we were just watching a moment ago at Atwood.
There is the race leader, number 17, Keihin NSX, and look behind it. There it is, the Raybrigg NSX, number 100. Now I wonder, because they are all Honda in the Honda camp, I wonder if there might be team orders going out to say...
That was the reason for my earlier question, is there a preferred squad? Because it certainly looks like the gap was aggressively being brought down, and now it isn't.
In terms of the headlines, I think Honda would very much like to say a certain bloke from the southwest won his first Super GT race, was his second Super GT race, but for the first time. His opening stint wasn't stellar.
No, he did a good job to keep his nose clean through traffic. Didn't make any mistakes. Didn't look rusty, which he could have done. But by no means was he subtly outstanding like Nick Cassidy was, for example. Nick made his way very carefully from 9th on the grid to the lead.
Big sideways moment there
That was Kamui.
That was Kamui
Kobayashi.
And that's Daiki Sasaki behind him. Kamui getting very aggressive, as he's reputed to do.
Yeah, that looked a little spicy. You know, you're allowed to make one change of direction, and he made that one change, but came a long way out towards the pit road there.
Kamui Kobayashi, back in the day, had a bit of a reputation for going wheel-to-wheel Jensen Button. I remember in Sauber and in Toyota, banging wheels around Suzuka and various other tracks.
I'd forgotten about that, yeah.
I was hoping for a rekindling of that battle, but not today. And it's interesting to see the debut race for the new spec Nissan GT-R GT3 in Japan, at least, is well, it started out very well, as Kobayashi makes another mistake there.
Yeah, just a slight lock up there coming down into the hairpin, and that gives Jan Bardebre's teammate Daiki Sasaki chance to just close up a little bit.
This is the battle for third place in GT300. There you go. Confirmation that
boom, he is not related to Kamui.
That was a failed fist bump there.
Yeah, but it helped that we were both watching the telly.
Yeah, we were watching racing. Battle for third here. Gamu versus Müller in the Porsche, and I think they won't stay this way around for very long. But look behind them. There's another one of those 86s on its way. Here it is, the Mac car. But that is not for position. I was mentioning the GT-R GT3, the new spec, the Gainer, number 11. He's running in 5th position, 19 seconds, 20 seconds now off the lead.
It was very much in qualifying the FIA GT3 cars that held the advantage in GT300, but in the race it's flipped back to the more traditional Japanese GT cars.
But the thing is, between those two leading cars, you can actually play. It's a good game. Those two cars are very good to play spot the difference with. There's lots of little aerodynamic differences between the car in first and the car in second, which aren't on screen at all. Playing spot the difference between a Mercedes, a Porsche, and an 86 is really too easy.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of battle still to come here. Okayama, 65 laps completed. We're here on Nismo TV. I'm Sam Collins. This is Rob Barff. Don't forget, if you want some more of this Super GT action, don't forget, like, subscribe, let us know what you want to see on the whole Nismo TV channel. Lots of special content coming up. The whole Nissan Intelligent Mobility operation is going to come into full swing with the Formula E campaign getting underway later this year, so do stay tuned and subscribe for that. There's some really special content coming up for that. A little bit is already on the screen. You can see a few teaser videos, but Nissan have got some really special stuff lined up for the Formula E season.
If you're here for the first time, we really hope you're enjoying this multi-class Japanese GT race, the Super GT series from Okayama International Circuit. The two classes running round, the GT300s we're watching now, have the yellow headlights. They're the slightly slower cars. The faster cars, the GT500 cars running with white headlight lenses. Big grid of cars and quality racing up and down the field. The Leon sponsored Mercedes still leads the Porsche, so this is where the Porsche will have the advantage. Sam now coming on to the back straight. Good traction, the engine over the rear wheels, and gets a reasonable tow from the Mercedes. Oh, just got away at the wrong time there. Oh no, here we go. So coming down the end of the back straight into turn 5, the Porsche looks around the outside. Can he find the long way around? Almost, but not quite.
Lots more action coming up on track. Not just here at Okayama, but around the world, of course. You have the Blancpain series coming up, and of course British GT with the RJN Nissan GT-R GT3s, one of each, old and new specs. That'll be interesting to see how they get on. Both of them painted red, so it's red car versus red car there. And I expect to see quite a lot from that team this year.
Yeah, some of the circuits they go to really suiting the GT-R in the British GT series, and good to have two GT-Rs in the field this year. Battle continuing between the Mercedes and the Porsche, with the 86 there holding a watching brief in the background.
And just looking at your tweets with hashtag Benson Jutton. Don't forget though, on Twitter @Nismo. That is a brilliant channel to follow. There's all sorts of wonderfulness on that. Of course, we don't just have to say that, but it's true. there is actually really good stuff on that Twitter feed.
Yeah, there's some sort of really insightful behind-the-scenes footage, great stuff. Remember when I was racing at the Spa 24-hour Sam, I'd see you rushing around with Louis and the camera crew, sort of getting a real insight into the workings of how this complex machine that is a GT racing team works, and
how to build a Nissan GT-R GT3 in 1 night from scratch.
Yeah,
that was impressive. You can see all of these videos we're talking about elsewhere on Nismo TV. Lots of great content there. I mean, I don't know how long it would. I wonder how long it would take to watch everything on Nismo TV. To binge watch the whole way through Nismo TV. There's got to be a few weeks worth there on there now. Yeah, more. Yeah, we think a few months worth perhaps of amazing content.
Sven Muller in this green Porsche is now starting to get frustrated, visibly frustrated. He's making moves to position the Porsche in areas where you wouldn't expect, and that is giving the chance for the little 86 to close up behind.
But that car's a lap down there, Rob. So I mean that tells you the Mac 86 isn't a super competitive car generally, and to have it right on the back there. Well, here is the race leader in the GT500. See a little bit of the exhaust glowing there. And just in the distance is the 100, but he's been very aggressive to stay ahead with still some way to go in this race. 68 laps. This is lap 68, 82 laps in this race. Then we've got the amazing podium ceremonies. If you've never watched Super GT, stay tuned for the podium. I can't remember what you get here. You definitely don't get wood.
You get a barrel of something.
Possibly.
It's not a basket of rice. It could be a barrel of something.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, you just have to stay tuned at the end of the race. The 100 Raid Rig NSX there on screen. Great crackle from the exhaust of these GT500 cars. You can tell a GT500 car apart, you can tell a Honda apart from a Toyota, apart from a Nissan, just by listening to them. They all sound extremely different. Let's see if we can listen to that.
Got a little crackle of the anti-lag as he came off the throttle there, but the explosive ignition cut as they go up through the gears sounds incredibly aggressive.
A question just came in on the chat. Sorry, I didn't see who it was from, but the question was, if we could see any GT3 car on this grid that isn't here currently, what would you put on? I'd say the Morgan.
I'd like a Ferrari.
We did have a Ferrari last year.
We had a Ferrari last year. It sort of circulated
and then
disappointingly.
Mario Nitta having that huge accident in it.
Perhaps one of the new spec Bentleys. That would be a welcome addition as we see the right on cue, the older spec Bentley.
It was Vince Libera who asked which car it was. Thanks for that question. Keep those questions coming in. We do like them.
Good point.
Everyone's still talking about Benson Jutton. Wonder if we get the name changed to the side of the car. Probably not.
I'm sure it won't have been the first time.
There is that battle. That gap is coming down now between first and second. The 100 is beginning to work its way into the gap. That's what he's thinking as well.
They're both looking quite aggressive as they make their way up. I saw that as well. As they make their way through traffic, lots of flashing of headlights, lots of relatively late lunges, and they've got a relatively comfortable cushion now at the head of the field. You can see that gap behind. Lots of clear air behind in terms of GT500 runners.
Now, a question just come in on the chat from Iron Daffodil there, because the Wed Sport has a slightly indecisive moment trying to get past or not get past the number 3 GT-R. A question just came in from Iron Daffodil there Rob, on the chat, Rob. What do the flashing headlights mean?
Their encouragement to be seen. The drivers have a facility on the steering wheel to press a button, and a single press of the button normally equates to somewhere between 3 to 7 forward flashes of the headlights, and they just press the button just to simply flash the lights to let the other drivers know they're there.
Yeah, it's basically, get out of the way, I'm coming
through.
Or even if I want to come through, no, you're not coming through. It's a lovely, some lovely farts of engine there. I think that was a Lexus making that noise. So there we go. We're looking at the Battle of Chio there, as the number 23, driven by Sugio Matsuda there, is on the tail of Izawa-san. Izawa is that same Izawa that was racing in GP2 as it then was.
Yep.
A couple of seasons ago. He's now switched back over to Super GT and is being given a lesson on how to race by an Italian. Wonderful bit of racing there.
So Matsuda down the inside and upper position, and he's come from almost the back of the field back up to 5th. You've got to think, where would he have been if they hadn't have got that unsporting penalty for a jump start?
Just have a listen to this. I don't know if we can turn up the volume on the ambient.
Visibly closing down the NSX as well. They do sound great, Sam, you're right.
And who said turbocharged cars with small engines sound rubbish?
Everybody who watches Formula One.
Yeah, but actually the technology in these engines is extremely similar to the technology in Formula One engines. It's just these are 4 cylinders and Formula One is V6s. The only big difference is these cars don't have the MGU-H or the MGU-K that doesn't make a difference to the sound. It's just, why doesn't Formula One sound like this?
They would just sound amazing. The crackle of what is in essence anti-lag and the exhaust and induction noise, it just works.
I love that sound of the anti-lag. But this battle here at the front, I think
it's going out.
But this is a tyre battle. 10 laps to go. Who's managing their tyres the best? I don't think this is done. I don't think the Raybrick tyres have gone off. I think
Matsuda is just on another planet in terms of continuing.
Look, there you go. He's losing tyre temperature.
Wow, I didn't expect that. I thought with the relatively bright conditions of the sun being out, we would have had enough track temperature. You can see the car is casting shadows on the road surface, so the sun is coming through the clouds. I thought we would have had enough temperature to maintain a working temperature in the tyre, but obviously not. And Matsuda has disappeared from this battle where he overtook the NSX, and now the Forum Engineering car looking around the outside of the Arta NSX.
It's the Nissan.
Yeah.
Nissan's beginning to get the tyres working.
Yep.
You are with just over 10 laps to go here at Okayama, round 1 of Super GT. Keihin NSX leading the race by 1.3 seconds from the Raybrick NSX, number 100. Keeper Tom's LC500 in 3rd, but will it stay like that? Late stop here for the Subaru in one of the competitive runners in GT300. Now, well, there was some shouting there. Switching tyres, new set of Dunlops going on, but only on the rears.
No, new set all round.
Well, that's not scheduled, is it? But there is the GT300 field. The 2 GT86s now separated by 5.1 seconds. That's down to tyres. The Leon AMG Mercedes is in 3rd. And is that trouble for the 17, or was it just a funny angle? No, it's damage. There's big damage on the front of the race leader. Well, how's he got that?
Now, is that from his car?
No, that is damage. That is the front. That is a bit of his front bodywork that's come apart.
Is it a dive plane? It looks like a dive plane with the sort of front aerodynamics.
I think it's a bit of the internal ducting. Now, is it from his car? Because he's got his dive planes. You can see them, 2 on each side. Canards, as they like to call them in Japan.
What do they call them in France?
Ducks.
Boom, well done. I was hoping you'd take that. Now,
9 laps to go. This is really playing out quite nicely for the finish. So if you thought Super GT it doesn't let you finish. Now,
it's somebody else's dive plane or a canard.
I wonder if it's a strake from a diffuser. Right up the chuff of that.
It could be, yeah.
But he's lost time. He has lost time.
And if it's just caught in the debris fence at the very, very front, the front line of protection of the car, they have like a debris fence to stop missiles going through the radiators. If it's caught gone any further, he'll be okay. But what we're looking for now is a visible loss of performance and perhaps some steam and smoke.
I'm trying to remember what is called by those central ducts on the Honda, and I think the turbo inlet is located somewhere around there on this car. Even though it's a mid-engine car, the combustion air enters from the front of the car and feeds right through the car, not through those ducts inside. So that's for the intercooler.
Even if it hasn't punctured a radiator, it's going to be disturbing the airflow into a crucial part of the car, be it air intake, brake cooling. It's going to be upsetting what is a very, very carefully structured aero balance at the front there.
Disappointingly, I didn't bring my photo archive with me today, so I can't actually go and look under the body. I have a lot of photos of these cars with the bodywork off, and I normally have the photos with me just in case this situation comes up and I say, oh, what's down there? And I go and have a look at a photo and I can tell you exactly what's on the car. Unfortunately, I don't have those photos with me today. And no real reason I didn't. I just didn't pick them up walking out of the house. Sorry. But yeah, that is, it's clearly, because he lost a chunk of time there. So we'll see how that pans out. Championship points are going to be thought about at this point as well. Look how much time the Hoppy 86 now has lost. He's going to struggle to get on the podium now.
Far from settled in GT300, Sam. They're closing down on that little Hoppy 86. The mid-section of the race seemed to really suit the lighter, more nimble GT300 cars, but the big FIA spec GT3 cars now coming into their own with only 8 laps to go now.
Question coming in from Sunset A. Don't know where it comes, Sunset B or C, but Sunset A. Asks if we could have these GT500 cars in any other endurance race outside of Super GT, where would you like to see them? For me, the answer is really simple: Le Mans.
Yeah, can you imagine a GT500 car around Le Mans? Okay, so is this where we're going to see?
The number 3 having, pretty heavy contact there with the Zensurumo. Now that is where...
So that's where the big lumps of carbon came from.
Well, he's got his own big lumps of carbon hanging out. Now, was that before or after? Now, the Zensurumo is shedding bits of bodywork around the track. Look, he's got his own little spikes sticking out of it as well.
A little bit of sill hanging off there, Sam, as well.
Crucial aero part, that. And as we've got change of position there, Sven Muller's gone past the Leon. Very neat, tidy move, though.
Now, this is bad news for the Hoppy 86. Sven Muller, with 7 laps to go, will be a driven man to try and catch and pass for the GT300 race win. And you can see that gap visibly coming down now.
But will that mean that the Hoppy car holds on? Let's have a look. That's just a slightly overcooked it, the Leon car. Tried to shut the door, too late.
Yep, Sven Muller, all he needed was half an excuse to get by, and that's all he got, and a brilliant opportunistic move.
Well done. That's what he said. But there is the number 23 Motul Ortec GT-R. Controversially, I have to say, relegated to its current position on track.
Yeah, really disappointingly, because you can see the 2 NSXs here. You have to think that Nissan GT-R would have been right in the mix if it hadn't have had that controversial, as you say, Sam, drive-through penalty.
I mean, you can watch back on YouTube here on Nismo TV at your leisure that start of this race, and I personally don't think there was a jump start. I couldn't see a jump start of any sort, so I think it was a little bit of a harsh penalty.
I actually thought that the pole-sitting car might get a penalty for just not controlling the pace of the field closely enough. It's the poleman's job to make sure that the grid is in a tight formation, going relatively slowly, and I thought he kind of let the pace go too quickly, and it was a bit of a messy start, but yeah, no intention from Ronnie Quintarelli to jump the start that we could spot.
The gap is definitely now coming down between the 17 and the 100. The Cahin in front, the race leader, with the Raybrick behind. Now here is the battle for
GT300
second position. I was about to say third, but it's not going to be. The tyres on the Hoppy 86 are just completely shot.
Yeah, and with the Porsche engine over the rear wheels, gets a lovely drive out of Atwood Corner at turn 4. He's now positioned on the inside. All he's got to do is hang on into the braking area.
He's not going to.
Should be relatively straightforward. The hoppy car brakes very late, but Sven Muller up the inside and through into the lead. 5 to go.
This is going to be an interesting final 5. Who will be revealed?
Sorry, he's not into the lead, is he? Because the up garage 86
disappeared off down the road.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about for seconds. I think the battle is over.
Yep.
Who will be third is more the question. No, you're not first. That's a mistake he made. No, definitely not. No, there's your second. No, but look at this. This is the battle for the lead now. Now, is it because the Keihin has got this bit of bodywork wedged in the front of it, or is this somebody on the radio saying, "No, don't push too hard"?
5 laps to go. They certainly wouldn't be thinking about choreographing a nice photo finish just yet.
They have. Honda has space. 7 seconds. That man, the bloke from the southwest, who's wondering who Benson Jutton is and why everybody's talking about them. Hashtag Benson-san. Hashtag Benson Jutton. We prefer hashtag OMGTR. It's been a while since we wrote that one out, isn't it? Here on Nismo TV, final 5 laps. There's a man with his tongue out. Some people are saying press the like Jutton, kick Nasadi. This is Gooper ST and Kaiki Hovalainen.
Kaiki Hovalainen.
Hashtag Benson-san. Nismo TV, putting the fun back into motor racing. Like, subscribe, leave us comments, tell us what you really think. Lots of great action coming up through the year here on Nismo TV. We'll be able to bring you some fantastic coverage, some behind-the-scenes insights. But right now, all attention is on a pair of Hondas going around a track in the south of Japan. Keihin NSX, followed by the Raybrig 100 NSX. The Keihin NSX has damage on the front. They're excited. He seems less excited. He seems really excited. But I think there's going to be a change of position, and now, Rob, is this? Let's see. How is this choreographed?
Surely not. Having Jenson Button in Super GT is brilliant, but choreographing it so he wins his first race where he's doing the full season, I'd be disappointed if they did, Sam. I really would.
Well, I'm not sure they are, because there is damage on that car. In GT300, you can see on the screen, it's settled down for the first time in, well, the entire race, with 3 laps to go.
Yeah.
I think we've seen it before where Super GT turns into the most enormous battle in the final 2 laps. And I think we're shaping up for another one of those battles. Certainly going into this race, regardless of what the qualifying positions were, I did not expect Honda to be first and second, but in the test that took place earlier this year in March, the Keihin NSX was the fastest, followed by the Raybrig, which is what's panning out on track now.
Yeah, exactly today. I'm glad the weather has been kind. It's been nice to have a race with no interruptions. The Raybrig car makes its way past the excitingly liveried Mercedes. Round through the final sector, running nose to tail, and the gap is down to 4 or 5 car lengths now, Sam.
It's 3 to go. It's down to how much life there is in these tyres. You'll notice certainly on the Raybrig car, the branding on the sidewalls is almost completely faded. Usually a vague idea that the wear is getting to a point where the tyre's beginning to run out a little bit. Not always, it's not a scientific measure, but you can see the tyres are almost completely black on the sidewall there.
Relatively hard circuit on brakes, so the brakes will be working hard, and we see, particularly from the Lexus, lots of brake dust coming off, and of course that coats the sidewall of the tyres as well. Gap just stretching out as they come onto the back straight.
Nice racing here. And that Lamborghini nearly got skewered by the extension on the Keihin NSX, who's just run off the track. Still hasn't managed to lose his spike.
That looked a little more spicy than perhaps it could have done. You know, the race leader was off the road there, coming through traffic, and the Raybrig car behind really pushing hard now. A couple of GT300 cars in the mix here, coming through the last two corners. Cahill car safely makes his way past, coming onto the front straight now.
Final 2 laps
this
here.
Isn't a done deal now.
It's absolutely not. Final 2 laps here at Okayama, here live on NISMO TV. I'm Sam Collins, and I am joined by Bob Barff. And there is damage on the race-leading Keihin NSX. We're not sure where the damage came from, but there's a large piece of carbon fibre protruding from the front of the car, closing the gap, but it's gone out a little bit now. It's just that this is the final lap, actually, with the Raybrig NSX. Is he going to be able to catch up to him? I don't think he's going to be able to do this.
No, I don't. The RCF got in his way ever so slightly through Atwood Corner there, but no, I think this is a done deal. The two Honda NSXs looking very comfortable now as they complete their last half lap here at Okayama.
The driver's going to get a hell of a shock when he gets out of that Keihin NSX and looks at the front of the car. Massive amount of debris down there on the track as they come out of that corner. That all came off the back of a Lexus. There's the Raybrig number 100 car. There it is, second position. Jenson Button putting in a very average stint in the first half of the race, followed by a superb second stint from the second half of the race. Really made the advantage, but unlucky for two of the Nissans at least. And here is the final corner. Keihin NSX wins the Okayama Super GT race. Round 1 goes to Keihin. 1-2 for Honda. 3-4 for Lexus. It was nearly a change of position there on the line.
Very close, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very close indeed.
Fifth position for the new spec Nissan GT-R GT3 and GT300, but here's the battle for, well, not the battle, here is the leader in GT300, the up garage GT86.
He's done enough to keep that charging Sven Muller at bay.
Oh, he's long gone.
Yep, still clear air behind him, and despite the D-Station Porsche's best efforts, hardly in sight.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't stop hitting us with your likes and your subscribes at the moment. We need to get more likes up on there, and I told you something good would happen for Nissan, and that was the Gainer car finishing 5th. That was quite good for a race debut. I think there's a lot more to come from that car. Certainly a championship contender as the season goes on. Disappointing also in 5th for the Motul Ortec GT-R as the GT300 up garage 86 crosses the line to winning GT300. Oh, and a bit of bodywork. I think that's the spike has finally come off.
Lots of carbon debris on the track. Lots of carbon debris. And up garage taking the race win by 4.5 seconds from the D-Station Porsche in the end.
That was quite a big margin, and that was all down to the tyres here. There is your race winner. There is your second position car. Stay tuned for the podium. We should be hearing from not only the race winners, which will all be in Japanese. I hope we will be hearing from the English speakers. That includes Jenson Button in second position in the Raybrig NSX. And post-race, later in the week, we'll probably be getting some updates, and you'll probably see that on @NISMO, on the Nissan NISMO Instagram feed as well, and on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, smoke signals, carrier pigeon, and many other forms of communication. Nismo's all over it, Reddit. And we will have updates from the drivers of the time. I'm interested to hear Ronnie Pintarelli's thoughts.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be insightful, I think. Insightful.
Fascinating if we hear from the Toyota Prius drivers. And Richard Lyons in the Audi R8 as well. There was that I think was the moment of the race for me, the R8 in a Prius sandwich.
Yeah.
And here we're going to see, and we might hear from Nick Cassidy as well, who trundles home in third position. But I'm just wondering, was there a change of position on the line? I don't think there quite was, but very nearly. Here the cars all line up for their parc fermé. Stay tuned for the podium ceremony, because if you've never watched the Super GT podium, you're in for something you've probably never really experienced before.
It is quite special, and I can't help but think, Sam, where would the red car have been? Without a drive-through penalty, I think it would have been relatively comfortable.
An unfair drive-through penalty, I'm going to stick my neck out and say that. The broadcast is clearly getting a little bit excited, or that some of that sparking Starkey's got into the wiring, but we're still going. So stay with us here on NISMO TV. But for now, let's say it's been fantastic for the first race of the season.
Yeah, great to see the cars back out on track.
The more likes and subscribes we get, the better. But the podium ceremonies, and I was always one of those people, when we first started doing the Super GT thing back in 2014, I didn't want to cover the podium ceremony. I now really look forward to it.
It's your favourite part, isn't it?
No, I already said my favourite part was two Toyota Priuses bullying an Audi R8. Where else are you going to hear that expression? I wonder if we're going to get any shouty people or chorus girls.
I think we're going to get some carefully choreographed Honda flag waving.
Flag waving?
Ah, flag waving. There you go. Right on cue.
If you're watching on Studio Cam, we've got flags. We've gone for the single flag strategy. If you don't get that one, stay tuned because it will work you out. And there is the winning GT86. Very good engine in that car.
There you go.
No, very, very good engine. Looks familiar to some other engines. I can't think where I'd seen them before, though.
I really love the livery. It is. It's really retro.
I wonder if they'll keep it for the season. Last year they did muck around with the...
Unlikely, sadly, but it's very distinctive, you know, from a commentator's perspective. It's
easy with his overall, so.
Very easy to spot the car.
Surprise win, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
Up Garage taking this victory. Didn't see that one coming in GT300.
Well deserved.
Certainly not what it looked like at the start of the race. And he's broken the door. Yep. And nearly broke the roof as well. All carbon fibre that on the 86s. He looks happy. He definitely looks happy. Look at that. Yeah, I think the driver's just realised there that he's got... Look at that. Now, that has come in off another car and it's just wedged off the front. He's like, I was driving around with that on my car.
He's been very lucky, very lucky. That looks like it's wedged a long way through the debris fence and the radiators aren't that far behind.
No, it's gone straight into that. There's a big sort of solid bit of carbon fibre at point.
Yeah.
It's gone into that. Yeah, that's where you finished. Well done. There'll be some interesting pictures in Autosport Japan, the Japanese magazine this week, covers Super GT fantastically, and I'm really looking forward to seeing close-up pictures of that spike on the NSX. MC Malicious Gravy says, I like the podium ceremony so much, have I bought myself an orange jacket? No, I leave that to professionals. I haven't had my orange jacket.
Brilliant idea for a Christmas present, though, so thank you for that.
It's a long time till Christmas.
I'm thinking early Christmas present, and you should do the last race of the championship in the orange jacket.
I think we should do the last race of the championship, and I can be Mr. Orange Jacket.
Oh, I'd pay money for that. That would be great.
Yeah, they pay quite a lot of money for that. If you don't know what we're talking about, Mr. Orange Jacket, he turned up at the end of the race. We're going to hear from him again at the end, or in the podium ceremony, when they find the podium here at Okayama. Oh, and here come the interviews with the race leaders. They are all in Japanese. These two race winners.
Pole to finish, pole to win という形を
So it's just saying, yeah, lights to flag victory for you. Didn't quite work out like that, though, did it?
No, it didn't. It was. They had to work for it.
This is one of those races that doesn't stack up when you look at the results. He says, thank you. Yeah, you have a big spot. Look at that.
Yeah, that's destroyed the front of the car. Very lucky.
He blamed Kazuki.
チームからは何かそのような状況のインフォメーション
Which is interesting. So maybe just rammed the back of a Honda and
picked up, as you said, a
Lexus and
a strake off the rear diffuser.
Robot Wars. Robot Wars has been cancelled. Our producers had outside say it's like Robot Wars. It is like Robot Wars. Robot Wars has been cancelled.
ということでは特にそのドライビングには影響なかったということですけども。いや同じその
British TV series, I think if you're in the States it was called BattleBots, but that's irrelevant. But it does look like a weapon, doesn't it, on the front of the car?
He looks genuinely relieved.
He does. He really does. And he looks knackered.
Yeah.
今ですね、金氏監督来ました。そしてここで選手が 小暮選手抱きつくのかと思ったら、
Oh yeah, this is the thing. That was the team hadn't found their driver. I was wondering if this is a very long interview for the finish. This, by the way, this is not the podium ceremony
おめでとうございます。
in Super GT.
なんかね、もうモニター見るのもドキドキするし、いやこんなに優勝嬉しいんだって、改めて本当なんていうのかレースってすごいなっていうか素晴らしいなと思いました本当に。
He's basically
いや
happy.
我々はですね、小暮選手ここに来てくれないんじゃないかなとドキドキしましたけど。
いやいやもう。
Yeah, so haven't got caps all the way around, have they? They're still missing a Bridgestone cap. Oh no, they've both got them now.
喜びを本当にかみしめてました。はい。
そして金瀬監督おめでとうございました。では最後までですね、ちょっと心配なことありましたけど、一言お願いします。
Keihin Real Racing.
本当に去年からずっといろいろ苦労してみんなで頑張ってきた会がここで糧となって実を結んでよかったです。
おめでとうございました。
How many layers of peel off do these cars have on the windscreen?
Depends how long your race is.
I don't think they have any on these cars.
Yeah, they do.
Did you see it peeling?
Yeah, I saw peeling at the pit stop. These guys will normally run 2 peel-offs, so they'd have 2 opportunities to take off a layer of, and it's like a thick protective film. It's optically perfect or thereabouts, so your vision isn't that isn't that affected. But for 24-hour races, we run kind of 5 or 6.
Well, that question came from Tom Tortoise. And here is the Up Garage team.
いや良かったです。このチームに移籍して、やっぱり
Looks a lot taller than Kamui actually.
He does.
優勝するっていうのは当然期待して呼んでいただいてるんで、それでちょっと昨日の予選はちょっと格好悪い結果になっちゃったんで。
Has he got one of those I've been to the dentist badges on his hat?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I've been a good boy.
本当良かったですし、本当
Yes, it is. He's got a little tooth on it.
Or is it I'm 32 today.
I think maybe Yokohama's 70 today or something.
あったかなと思うんで、あとはもうチャンピオン狙って。
Other good things that come out of Yokohama as well as Yokohama tyres are Nismo.
様子を伺って500を使って見事のオーバーテイクからのぶち切りでした。おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうござい
It's
ます。
here with you through. Well, we've been here for a very long time, haven't we? I don't know when NISMO TV started. A long time ago.
20ね乗って3シーズン目になりますけ
Should
ど。
know because it's on the
4
YouTube
シー
account.
ズン目になりますけど、やっと掴みました
NISMO
ね。
TV, hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the podium ceremonies. This is not the podium ceremony. This is just the quick interview with the excitable girl.
おめでとうございます。
She said thank you.
石田監督。やっとの優勝です。
本当4シーズン目やっと本当に今まで
He's saying that, yeah, we were nowhere in pre-season testing. We were like P17, and now look,
they do have a new technical partner with that. Nissan is not done for today in racing, though. There is the Blancpain GT Series race at Zolder later today. There's Formula E coming up later in the season, of course. We're going to have a lot about that. Blancpain GT, the Endurance Series, the big one. We're going to have a lot to hear about that. British GT with the 2 RJN cars. Super Taikyu, which Nissan is leading. They'll see the IMSA series, which Nissan has done very well. And this isn't the end of the broadcast. They're just looking for the podium or assembling it. I can't remember where it is in Okayama.
You said it was going to snow. Look at that.
Well, someone said it was going to snow. It's not going to snow, is it? Clearly not going to.
It was certainly chilly. You know, we saw cars looking for tyre temperature all the way practically to the checkered flag, Sam.
And there is your race result. Keihin NSX GT winning the race from the Raybrigg NSX, driven by Yamamoto and Jensen. Barton Keeper Tom's LC500, the last year's champions, in 3rd. And you can see the rest. First of the Nissans in 5th position, the Motor Lawtech GT-R, 36 seconds off. Now, had he not got that penalty, drive-through penalty, that, you know, Motor Lawtech, completely unfair penalty. The 24 Forum Engineering Advan GT-R was 48 seconds off in 6th position. And the Craft Sports, driven by the new team for the Super GT season, was just over a minute off the lead in 7th. Now, that drive-through penalty was I'm completely against, so that wasn't great. Terrible race for the number 5 for the 64 car, the Epson NSX GT, driven by Bertie Baguette and Matsura-san. I don't know why that car was so slow. We didn't really see much of it, other than it being lapped. In GT300, as you've just seen, the Up Garage GT86 was the overall victor from the D-Station Porsche. The Hoppy GT86 managed to cling on for 3rd position ahead of the Leon AMG GT. First of the new specification Nissan GT-R GT3s was the Gainer Tanax number 11 car, driven by Hironaka and Yasuda. They were a lap down on the timing and scoring, but in reality that's not a reflection of how the car performed on track. I think you'll see a lot more from that as the season progresses. Put them down as a championship contender. And here we see some of the very long and large amount of GT300 cars. Number 30 Prius finishing ahead of the number 31 because the number 31 didn't finish, I think, because it got beaten up indirectly by the number 30 and an Audi R8.
And I'm just thinking about it now, Sam, a race with very, very few retirements. You know, for a relatively tight technical... who started the car number 35, by the way?
The tyre driver. What's his name?
I don't know. Oh, I do. I just can't pronounce it.
Has to be in a slightly smaller font to all of the other drivers for the length of name. Coming up, the podium ceremony and some race highlights. I hopefully involve some Priuses. There is the championship positions. The 17 driver, of course, on top. 21 points on the board. 15, 11, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you can probably imagine, one race in. And, of course, I was hoping that we'd get some English language interviews. Unfortunately, just stuck with my translations, which aren't... They're reasonably accurate.
Based upon experience of what team managers and drivers say to the press.
It's my Japanese.
And
my Japanese ability. I write for a Japanese magazine, of course. I have very good Japanese skills. You saw the GT300 points there. If you're wondering why it was 21 points for the car that won the race, the Keihin, it's because it got fastest lap as well. And the witches' brooms are out there sweeping up the circuit, as you see in Japan. Race isn't done. We still haven't found the podium as yet. The drivers are out there looking for it. So do stay tuned for this podium ceremony, which is taking a very
quite a long time.
Yeah, this is the longest time. Oh, look, we've gone screen in screen. There you go. Joe's pressing buttons. He's waiting for the podium too.
Yeah, just going back to what we were saying about the number of retirements, considering the nature of the circuit, really tight, really twisty, 11 corners in total, most of them medium speed and hairpins, not much contact and hardly any retirements.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just good, clean racing, and that's what sums up a lot of Japanese racing. Not so clean on track, of course. You can see a bit of the damage there. It was really the GT500 guys who got a bit dirty later on. I mean, we saw the damage to the Zent car. There's the number 100.
Yeah,
almost getting damaged on its own. You don't really want to hang on a rear wing like that so much, but oh well. Big wheel. And, well, they're still looking for the podium at Okayama. It's obviously well hidden. So the first thing drivers have to do once they've won the race is then play the hunt the podium. And whoever gets there first gets to open the champagne. Darian Quinn asks a very good question. When will we go see Super Taikyu races streamed on NISMO TV? The answer to that is you won't, because Super Taikyu races are streamed anyway. And here is the second position team. I thought we were going to get this interview, and I was filling time till that. There's a man from the southwest of England. He's not. Naoki Yamamoto, who put in a fantastic second stint, actually.
Yamamoto lives in Yeovil.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, him and Chris Medlin go to all the matches together. He's saying the Honda works really well.
非常に喜ばしいことだと思いますし、去年の本当に悔しい思いがみんな持って1年間ここまで頑張ってきたんで、
Oh, and he's planning to drive some mini motos on the way home. It's a bit surprising, yeah.
タイヤを最後まで持ったんでしょうか。
結構きつかったですね。僕たちノー交換を選択したんで、もう最後ちょっとずるず
Yeah,
る
he's
で
just
したし。
talking about having a moment he was battling with one of the other drivers in the lead car. He's putting a brave face on not winning, but I think he didn't expect to perform so well as the race progressed.
優勝は次まで残しておきましょう。
Shall I translate this one?
ですね、ジェンソン・バトン選手ですね。そのフルシーズン参戦のその初戦で。
Jenson Button, it's your first full season of racing here in Super GT.
First of all, really sorry about that. We supported that you are struggling at the very beginning of the race, but you keeping the tire.
Yeah, the first lap was a mess because of the new start procedure. So there were cars everywhere, and it was a bit of a mess. And the 8 car was really struggling for tires, and I struggled to get past him. But anyway, it was a fun first stint of the race, and the pace was actually good once we got going. And then I obviously handed over to Naoki, who did an amazing job, and definitely the driver of the day here today. So no, it's great to get a podium here. First race of the season, and it's actually my first podium for 5 years. 6 years. 6 years. So thank you.
Is there any the secret things, the F1 technique of the keeping tire?
Yeah, but for me, the difficult part was the first 2 laps. And after that, then I could get into a rhythm with the car, and the car was good. I mean, it was enjoyable to drive. And it's great to see Honda quick at the first race. You know, it's really important for the whole season. Now we've got ballast, we see how it goes. But the important thing is to enjoy this moment and this great result.
Next race is the top of the podium.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you. まあ本当にですね、
also it was said by the Cahill team was that they're actually quite happy with doing well, but the GT300 podium started. They found the podium and got going with it. That's what the shouting in the background was all about. And the winners are on the podium. They're shouting. Mr. Orange Jacket's there. They're really falling behind schedule. I'm just going to talk over this guy because he's rambling. And there's the Hoppy team. They are lucky to be on the podium, I think, the number 25.
Yeah. Nice to see them up there, though. You know, they were in the mix all day, but clearly struggled towards the end of their stints. Good to hear from Jensen Button. Nice to hear his thoughts. And
he was actually quite interesting, wasn't he? And unlike most of the drivers in these interviews. And here come the girls. These are very small trophies.
まあ驚きなのがですね、英断だったその無効間タイヤ無効間のですね、作戦。
Winners trophy, well done. Well done, he says. Here's another very small trophy. Oh, they're all talking over each other at the moment. But yeah, there you go. Mr. Orange Jacket's happy about that. Here comes some even smaller trophies.
I'm already thinking, I think the trophies will be for third.
Yeah, it has to come, you know, you can lift it with one little finger. That's a small job. I mean, that's what you get for that arrive and drive car. Look at those. That is literally what you get for an arrive and drive car.
Like a paperweight.
Yeah. And as long as it's not too breezy. That is a very, very small. You can't even get his fingers around it. Oh, shouty girls are off.
And controversially, Sam, no flags at all.
No flags, yeah. It says flag-free zone there. Thought we might have some hoppy flags.
Perhaps they're going to bring the flags on for like a bit of a retrospective flag-waving session at the end.
They've got the 80s hero music going in the background. Oh, she's got... Well,
it's a plate.
No,
it's a large octagonal...
It's an octagon. With Okayama International Circuit written on it. Well done. Have my octagon.
Is it an octagon or a hexagon?
Is it hex? I was trying to count the size. That's why I paused. Yeah, it's hex. Yeah, 6-sided. Not 8. Well, I'll treasure that one. Hey, look at this!
Golf clubs! Amazing! Golf clubs, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the best prize ever!
It's not a barrel of rice. It's not wood. It's a set of clubs. And the crowd go wild.
But only one set. It's 2-driver race. Do they have to share them? Then?
No, he's just going to give them straight to his dad. He's going to be, oh, my dad's going to be delighted.
We win golf clubs. That is spectacular. Assetto Drifter S15. Oh, there's more of this to come. Oh yeah! Oh, this is gonna look. It's gonna be the trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, what could possibly go wrong?
That's a spectacular. That's up there, a bucket of fish heads. Here, you've won a motor race. Have some golf clubs. Is that an invitation to retire? And also, why only one set of golf clubs?
I love the way they built up to the massive golf clubs by very small. And here's the real trophy.
No, I think that's the Autobacks trophy. Mr. Orange Jacket gives that one away.
Disappointingly small trophies followed by massive clubs.
But surely, right, it's a 2-driver race. You're going to have a set of clubs each, right? Because what do they say? Oh, I want to go and play golf today. Oh, sorry, I've got the clubs.
Yeah,
no, it's my day with the clubs.
Yeah, remember, Dave, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Don't be asking for the clubs on a Thursday. It doesn't work like that.
Interesting. I wonder how much those golf clubs are worth.
He's backed the clubs, look.
Yeah, they're mine.
He's got the strap over his shoulder.
I think it's time for some mildly spraying beverages. Is it? No? Trophy posing. I mean, I know they're Yokohama branded golf clubs.
Who cares? It's great.
Yeah, but imagine you're taking the bullet train home, because it's quite a long ride back from Okayama to Tokyo.
Well, we said this about the baskets of rice, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like, what?
There's not much baggage space on a Shinkansen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to have to
wedge your basket of rice, or your golf clubs indeed, underneath the seat in front of you.
You can't on a Shinkansen. There's not enough
Imagine
space.
if he sat by the entrance. That's going to block the entrance. There's going to be all kinds of health and safety hazards.
You'll have the crossed arms in front of you. No, I think if you sit in the non-reserved car, you can put it in front of your seat. There's a bit more space there. Or at the back of the non-reserved seat, they can put them sliding behind the seats. That's what they'll do.
Bit of Top Gun music in the background.
Yeah, on loop. So they've done that bit because they don't want to play the whole thing. So when you sort of teams win something, they're taking the golf clubs away.
Oh, well, you wouldn't want to get sparkling beverage on your clubs, would you?
Or maybe they've only got one set. I thought we were just going to show you the golf clubs. Because they get to keep the trophies. They're taking the golf clubs away. Oh, here we go. Some bottles of stuff. We believe it to be, yes, it's sparkling sake, that's what you just said. Sparkling sake, some girls sparkling. Yes, raise a bottle. Remember, don't spray the girls. Don't spray the girls. You're not allowed. Oh, yeah, wait till they've got. Oh, that was a bit quick. Quick release. Oh, he's happy. He's failed to open.
Oh,
he's been learning from Nick Cassidy.
No, he's open. He's just gone for a very, very late spray.
He's gonna have a drink. He's gonna smell. I wouldn't want to sit next to him on the train home,
with or without golf clubs.
Yeah, that'll be like the last train on a Friday night out of King's Cross. Oh, there you go. Late release. He's absolutely drenched, isn't he? They'll still smell when he gets to Fuji. And if you think that's over for the podium, if you're watching us here on Nismo TV, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. There is another whole podium ceremony to go yet.
Bigger and better.
And maybe someone else gets given golf clubs. Or
like a set of
or a hexagon.
It could be, yeah. Who knows?
Getting a hexagon and golf clubs, and a very small
other
trophy.
Sporting accessories.
Yeah. What could you get? A speedboat. It'd be like Bullseye on British television. Yeah, a speedboat. Do you know, I think it's something like 75% of the speedboats in the UK were actually given away as prizes on Bullseye. It's a real fact. Wonder what else you get. We should have like Nismo TV prizes, shouldn't we, for Super GT? I think we get to a certain number of likes. I don't know how many likes. We're at 1,500 likes now. If we got to 2,000 likes, say by the end of this podium ceremony,
we give away a blankety blank checkbook and pen.
No, we don't have any of those, but we would be able to.
You know, the Nismo equivalent.
I think we could give away something like a Nismo torch, because that's a logical thing to have. Maybe some Nismo sunglasses. Nismo umbrellas, maybe. Yeah, Nismo stuff. So if we get to 2,000 likes, we will give away some Nismo stuff at some point in the next couple of weeks. A very small one. So small that it perhaps would be a certain scale.
Still looks freezing cold down there.
Especially if you're covered in bubbly.
All the winter jackets and the hats and...
This girl doesn't realise that oh, Mr. Orange Jacket's back. Looking very official. He's grown a bit of hair during the race.
He's got a little bit younger as well, hasn't he?
Funny.
Oh, he's got a sidekick now as well, look. Love a lilac tie.
Lilac's not a colour, really, is it?
Lilac? Mauve.
That's definitely not a colour. Who's this here?
It's Bunkum. Look at you, Christopher. Sneaking in there.
Chris Bunkum meets Mr. Orange Jacket, so that's going to have to be... Asiatic says, can we give out free sake? I'd have to go to... double flagging! Boom. Double flagging.
See, if
we'd have to go to Japan to get that.
If you haven't hit like or subscribe, you just need to for the double flag technique.
Yeah. 2
flags, one hand. What's not to like?
Golf clubs, flags,
wait and see.
Trophies. How's that going to work? And a hexagon. Acesso Drifter S16 wants a GT-R headlight, not torch. Oh, we might be able to arrange that. If you look on NISMO.TV, there is the NISMO garage sale every year. Fuji Speedway. You can buy lots of GT500 car. And here we go. It's Nick Cassidy, he of the champagne or sparkling starting worries. This is the first time he's entirely failed to open a bottle of...
He looks concerned already.
Yeah, on the podium all of last season, Nick Cassidy entirely failed to correctly open a bottle to the point where they had a practice session after the end of the season opening these. Is he going to get this right? He's probably talking about that to him as well. He's like, those guys on NISMO TV, they're at it already. But first of all, very small trophies and hero music. Oh, yeah, you're holding two flags now. How are you going to... Oh, no. Oh, it's my trophy. No, it's my trophy. No, you're going to get another one. You don't have to share. Get one each. Oh, he's going to... Poor flag. That's how bad Honda's season was last year. I mean, they don't have a practice flagging ritual. Jenson Button gets his first podium trophy for 5 years. That's quite a statistic. I think his last podium was at the Australian Grand Prix in... It's not 5 years, is it? It was the Australian Grand Prix in 2014. Yeah. When McLaren managed to actually finish a race. There's Nick Cassidy. He's worried. He's looking at that going... Cassidy just looked at him. That's really small. He's looking nervous. And he knows what's coming.
And they've set the bar high with the golf clubs.
Yeah.
They're all sort of looking pensive, like wondering what sports accessories are going to be on offer for the GT500 category.
Do you think hashtag Benson Jutton... And he said it wrong. Hashtag Benson Jutton plays golf?
I'm sure he does.
Because then we could actually ask him about what he did with the golf clubs. In fact, but now he just has to look on as other people get the hexagon.
He's not done enough to win the golf clubs.
Yeah.
If he was...
Maybe at Fuji Speedway he might win himself a geometric shape. This is the tense weight on the podium. Does Jenson Button remember how podiums work? He has done. Oh, it's different colour. The Bridgestone golf clubs. Look at this.
Look surprised, boys. Look, oh, golf clubs. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, but Bridgestone, the last ones were... I'm guessing they're Bridgestone golf clubs. Tour B. There you go. Excellent golf clubs. Sarah, you have a great suggestion as a prize. Maybe if we get 10,000 likes, we make that one happen. Still haven't got 2,000, so there's not going to be any prizes. You're not going to get hexagons at home. Simple as that. And we're certainly not going to give you any golf clubs or a very flat trophy or an orange jacket. There you go. He hasn't got the trophy. Where's my trophy? He checked his pockets, didn't he? And it wasn't there. Ah, there it is. I've won, he says. I was very surprised to see an Autobax in front recently.
Yeah, they're popping up in a few places now.
I kind of wanted to go in, see if they had orange jackets for sale. Sponsorship, but there you go. There's the trophy. It's got a little map of the circuit in case you wonder what it looked like. Bridgestone golf clubs. There you go. Do you reckon if you like Michelin, when there were Michelin golf clubs? Because it's the tyre manufacturers of the team, so do you think...
Yeah, possibly. Like you're thinking, yep.
So somewhere, well, Dunlop and golf, it goes together, but do you think there's some Michelin golf clubs tucked away somewhere? Oh, no one's got a scratch card yet.
Not yet.
No. Jensen's mates filming there. Oh, Mr. Lilac tie. Oh, there's the scratch card. And the scratch card is awarded to not Jenson Button. There you go, that's the thanks for turning up award. 500,000 yen. They'll drink that before they get back to Tokyo. You really could. It's very expensive in Japan.
Yeah, very true.
Next race, the 2018 Autobac Super GT Round 2 Fuji Speedway is on the 4th of May, which is a Friday. Because it is a holiday week in Japan. So weekday racing, May the 4th. Mark it in your diaries. It's not on the weekend. But we're not done. Let's see how Nick Cassidy's champagne or sake spraying goes. Will he release himself too early? Will he go prematurely, or will he get it right this time? He's managed to get it wrong every time, and he's really worried. Look, he's actually genuinely worried about it now. There is a concern on his face. Now, will he do it while he's got his flags in his hand and his very, very small trophy? A very small trophy.
It is a very small trophy.
John DePrin says, am I going to shave my head at 10,000 likes? 100,000 likes, maybe. And a free micro NISMO, that is.
You can't be asking for a Leaf NISMO 1 minute and then upgrading it or downgrading it to a micro NISMO the next. Make your mind up.
I want both.
Oh, both.
Obviously.
Well, losing the throw, it's got to be worth it, I guess.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe for more of this on Instagram. I'm not sure what's on Instagram. Did you take a picture of us and put it on Instagram? Yeah, apparently. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit,
LinkedIn.
Probably.
What was the one before?
WhatsApp?
No, MySpace. That was it, the music one, MySpace. Here we go then. All eyes on Nick Cassidy on the right-hand side. He's giving it a right old shake.
He's giving it. He's oh, he went too soon.
He's gone
too soon. He was premature again. Dear, oh dear. He was too overexcited. I mean, he survived at best time. Oh, and he's upset. Oh, he tried to pour the champagne down. Oh yeah, no, there's not happiness there. There was a dispute. Yeah, don't do that, he was told. Oh, Cassidy's in trouble now. Look at his face. He knows he's in trouble. He knows he's on camera. He's going to have to do a bit more champagne spraying practice in. Another 8 races this year. He's got to get it right by the end. Love a big Nissan logo there. Oh dear, he's looking. Oh, he doesn't know what to do with the flags now. Oh, Cassidy's having a podium nightmare.
Hashtag podium nightmare.
Benson Jutton there. Is he going to have a swig? No.
Yeah.
He's putting the lid back on for later.
Save that for the train journey home.
There's quite a lot in there, isn't there? I mean, oh, he can't do the lids. Oh,
he's had enough of his flag. He's just thrown it at strangers.
Did you hear that gasp? Maybe he's impaled it on something. No, don't throw the trophy, Nick. That would be bad. The team probably want that. There we go. It's Jensen Cam. You think he won the race or something? There's the real race leader. There's Cassidy. And that's it. That was the podium ceremony. They're taking it all home with them. But the golf clubs, did they leave the golf clubs behind?
No, the golf clubs are taken away to avoid being liberally sprayed with sparkling sake.
Ah. Well, it's been great to have you along for this your first Super GT race here on Nismo TV. I've been Cam Solins.
Yes, I've been Bob Barff. Have a good one. Thank you.
And here's some highlights of what you've just seen. Some cars on a grid with some people walking around. There's the next race. We did that bit already, producer people. May the 4th, it's a Friday. Don't forget, it's a Friday race. Start of May. Not long till the European F1 season starts, but Super GT is already well underway. Round 2, Fuji Speedway. Different race distance as well. I think that might be the 500-mile race. Yes, it is. 500-kilometre race. Not the 500-mile race, that's round 5. 500 kilometres at Fuji Speedway, but here's the race. Started off with Motul Ortec GT-R and a Lexus driver. A man from the southwest. Some cherry blossom and a photo. A cuddly toy and a drone. No drones allowed at racetracks, especially if they're trying to go to the moon. Outbraking itself was a number 3 car. There goes Hatsune Miku. Some drivers are smaller than others. That was
something else.
Anatomy. The start of the race. Did the Nissan jump the start? Of course it didn't. He just made a good start. R8 is the meat in a Prius sandwich. Cars bumped into each other. They got some damage. A man waved his fist, a man pulled a funny face, and some cars drove around. The man from the southwest looked disappointed and then excited. Perhaps he heard there was some cider going. There was a great battle in the GT300 category between two almost identical cars. In GT500 there was also a great battle as they bumped into each other. Two girls looked stressed. One of those two cars ended up with a spike on the front, after which nobody wanted to race with him. They looked very excited about finishing second, but not as excited about him for winning the race. That's right, that's the position they finished in. But here is the story of the day. The number 17 Keihin NSX took victory at Okayama and now lead the Super GT Championship. Thanks for being here on Nismo TV. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more great motorsport action.